You want your sports, you want your news. We got it all with honest views. It's the Davey Jones locker room. Yeah. Sit back and chill.
Hey, welcome to the Davey Jones locker room. I am Steve Davey. We'll be joined shortly by my co-host, George Jones. Before we get started, though, let's give a shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that would be Medina Roofing. Medina Roofing. They are local, like really local. They're not like national brand with a store in your town. They are really local. They eat at your restaurants, shop at your stores, attend your churches. They're your friends. They're your neighbors. They are local. Been around for about 50 years. They do amazing work. You walk outside, you turn around, you look at your house or your office, whatever it is, residential, commercial, doesn't matter. They'll take care of the roof, the gutters, siding, window. Like, they're all over it, man. So if you want the best care taken of your home or your office, there's one company to call to keep things local, and that is Medina Roofing. Reach out to them, 330-722-4264. That's 330-722-4264. They will get it done, and they only lay the best. So, hopefully George will show up here soon. Maybe we'll even get lucky and have a couple other people drop by. I don't know. But here it goes. We'll lag back in here when we get up to the picks. Hey, George is here. Let's pull him in. George, here we go. First pick is in.
Yeah, so first pick, we both would have probably picked
Exactly.
Cameron Ward.
Right.
Yeah. So you want me to go first or you want to go first? You want
Go
me to
ahead,
introduce
man. Let me hear who you got.
Okay, so well, to everybody that's out there, if you don't know who I am, my name is George Jones, former All-American running back at San Diego State, and I played in the NFL with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Cleveland Browns. So now I'm going to give you my top 10 picks. So as an audience, everybody that's watching this, we already knew who was going to be the two first picks, which was Cameron Ward out of Miami. Tennessee needed a franchise quarterback. I'm assuming as you look, the comparisons is to Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's going to be that good.
I
But
don't
he should be pretty good. I think hopefully if he can play as good as Steve McNair for Tennessee, they will have somebody special.
Right.
And obviously number 2, Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get all-world cornerback wide receiver from Colorado. They're going to get Travis Hunter. Again, Travis Hunter, if anybody's been paying attention to the college football season, he actually lives an NFL life as a college player. He has a fiance. He says he doesn't go out. All he do is play football, study, train, and fish. So right now, he's already living that football life where he doesn't have a lot of outside distractions. So this will be a great pick for Cleveland. Plus, it gives the city somebody who people will want to come and watch. Bring fans, bring people in the seat, kind of like what they was hoping with Johnny Manziel back in the day. And they're trying to kind of get rid of that sour taste in their mouth with paying all that money to Deshaun Watson.
Oh man,
yeah,
what a horrible move that was. I'll tell you what, man. I agree with you on the Travis Hunter thing, but we're both wrong because Jacksonville has the number 2 pick. They just traded out Cleveland.
Oh wow! So where's Jacksonville? Oh, okay. So
Jacksonville traded up from 5 to 2.
I bet you Jacksonville's gonna get Abdullah Carter.
I think you might be right because I think they knew that the Giants were going to take him at 3 and they
Yes.
wanted him worse.
Yeah, so I think so. Now we're switched to pick. So we'll say number 2 is Carter, Abdul Carter, edge rusher from Penn State.
Right.
So obviously, if you watch that bowl game when they played Boise State, that guy was he was their best player on the field by far. Them and number 44, the tight end, but we'll get to him later.
Right.
Abdul, if he even live up to the hype of being the kind of Michael Parsons comparison, hey, the Jacksonville gonna have a great player because Jacksonville offense is going in the right direction, but I think their defense with playing in that division with Houston and all them, they gotta get somebody who can get to the quarterback, and I think this young man Abdul Carter will be their pick. So for number 2, I guess we'll go with Abdul Carter. So then that picks number 3. Who will fall down to number 3? That would be
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter would go number 3 to Cleveland.
No, to
He
the
will go to
Giants.
he will go to the Giants.
Yeah, Giants.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So you'll have Travis Hunter will go to the Giants now, and again, they need somebody in New York now for Travis Hunter. This may be a great blessing in disguise.
Oh, it puts him in a big market.
Yes. So you're talking about with all the endorsements he's getting now, instead of being in Cleveland, he's going to be in New York. Oh my gosh. I would say he yes.
We got the trade information. Jags got Browns' second overall pick, 4th round pick, and 6th round pick this year. Browns get the 5th overall pick, the 2nd and 4th round picks this year, and next year's 1st rounder from the Jags.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be
can't turn that shit down, man.
Yeah, but that's a lot for Carter. But everybody's been saying Carter is the best player in this draft. That he's a kind of a can't miss.
I think you're right. I think he's the best player. I don't think he's the best athlete. I think Travis Hunter's the best athlete.
Yes.
I think for a solid one-on player, you're absolutely right. Abdul Carter.
Yes, because if he could play, like I said, Davey, if he could play if he could play comparable to Michael Parsons, hey man, the Jags got them a great player.
Yeah.
And so now we got Cleveland. Now where Cleveland goes down to number 3, don't they? Number 4?
Number New England at 4.
So New England, I'm going to go with, they got a franchise quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get an offensive tackle to protect him. And I'm going to say the guy Will Campbell from
That's
LSU.
exactly who I had.
Yes.
Exactly who I had. They need to protect Drake May.
You got to protect him because you're putting all that money into him. You got to protect him. Number 5, now it's going to be Cleveland.
Right.
So now we got, what's the name is gone. Travis Hunter's going to be gone.
Right.
So because you have Cameron Ward at 1, Abdul at 2, and then at 3, who was the 3rd pick?
Travis Hunter went number 3 to the Giants.
To the Giants. Number 4,
we had New England.
Now we got number 5 will be Cleveland.
Right.
I can't see them getting Shadura at number. I can't see it. It's a possibility. It's a possibility, but if Cleveland was going to get him, I would think, oh man, this is kind of tough, man. This number 5 pick. I mean, you got Mason Graham, you got Ashante Genty, and because you've been hearing a lot of people saying that he might go in the top 5.
And honestly, if they take that number 5 pick, I do think it's going to be Genty because they really need something in that.
They just got rid of Chubb.
Right.
They just got rid of Chubb. So I'm going to go with Santi at number 5.
So, all right. I think we could be onto something there if they take that pick.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past them to trade that pick and go down a couple of more spots and collect some more draft capital
yeah,
because they have so many holes to fill.
yeah. I just don't think they're going to go. They're going to go that. I just can't see them getting Shadur. I mean, oh man. But we're about to find out. Has that pick come in yet?
Not yet. I mean, it's in, but they haven't announced it.
Yeah, because with Shadur, man, I think look at it like this, Davey. In college, being a Sanders was a great thing.
Mhm.
All the NIL deals, you with your dad, everything. Now, when it's time to go to the pros, it's all type of nitpicking. Your dad, he's going to be involved. We don't want to have to deal with your dad. You don't really know the quarterback position. You're just out there just throwing the ball. You don't know how to read a defense. You hold on to the ball too long. You know, the non guy who said that, it was the worst interview he's ever, went
Yeah.
through, and the entitlement and all that. So I would say going to the NFL kind of hurts him than when he was in college.
We got the selection here for Jacksonville, and they took Travis Hunter.
Jacksonville,
Jacksonville took Travis Hunter at number 2.
but they wow, oh
I
wow.
didn't
That
see
means
that
they
coming.
that messes up everything.
Well, actually, all it does is put us back to where we started with Abdul Carter going number 3 of the Giants.
Yes, yes, yeah, yep. And then number 4 would be New England with Will
It's still Will
Campbell,
Campbell and
and then number 5 will be Cleveland.
Cleveland, and I'm I'm kind of with you that it could be a Mason Graham, uh, because I
Because
think
if you can put Mason Graham with Garrett, that may be a formidable D line.
right.
I think so. I'm going to go with Mason Graham at 5 at Cleveland,
Okay.
and then I'm going to go obviously with the Raiders. This has been talked about. I think man. They put his ceiling in Walter Payton, and his floor is LaDainian Tomlinson. So basically, they're telling you he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer no matter what. He's a can't miss.
Yeah. So you're
Uh,
you're saying the Raiders go with Genty then?
yes, I'm gonna go with the Raiders with Genty, and then I'm gonna say the Jets. They're gonna go with the offensive tackle from Missouri, Ahmad Membo.
Armand Mambu, yeah.
Yeah, because with getting Justin Fields, they need somebody to help protect him.
I see. Here's the one thing that I could throw. I think could throw a wrinkle in all this. First of all, with the Raiders, I actually have them taking Teteroa McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona.
Oh, do you?
You brought in Gino to throw the ball, but they had zero explosion last year,
Yeah,
and McMillan could actually give them that aspect of the offense.
yeah,
But
yeah, that's correct.
but to the Raiders, I mean to the Jets, I wouldn't be completely surprised if they brought in Shador. And I say that because they just brought in Aaron Glenn to run the thing.
Yes.
You've got Fields, who you just signed, but behind him, you've got a 35-year-old in Tyrod Taylor, and you've
Mhm.
got a couple of kind of tossaways with Martinez and Travis, who I think Shador is better than both of them today. So you get a quarterback competition between Fields and Sanders. That could be something cool.
Do you think Aaron Glenn would want, obviously Aaron Glenn was a great player for the Jets and when he played, do you think he would want to have like Deion Sanders always in his ear and things of that nature? Or because if you get Shador, the best place I think Shador should go.
Mhm.
Now it may not be a popular pick right now, is Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I honestly think they have their eye on him at 21 if he's still there.
Because of Mike Tomlin, and just think back to the 2004 NFL draft when you had Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger. You brought Ben in. You played defense, ran the ball. Ben, just don't be a game manager. Don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I think they could do that with Shadur his first year. Have him to be kind of a game manager. Don't turn over the ball. Let's have a good running game, a great defense, and play football like that. Even though Shadur feelings and will be hurt that he's being drafted lower than expected, but I think in the long run his career will be better than Cam Ward's or even the kid out of Ole Miss, because right now
Jackson Dart.
with Cameron Ward, he is asked to go right now. You got to go and be the savior.
Yeah.
And if this thing don't work out in 2 or 3 years,
it wasn't Levis.
yes. So my point is, I'm saying with Shadur, he may not like that, but in the long run, he will have more chance of being successful earlier because of you got you got a veteran team, you got a team that likes to run the ball, and you got a team that has a coach that's a defensive-minded coach, and Deion Sanders won't feel the need to have to call Mike Tomlin out because he has so much respect for Mike Tomlin. Most of these coaches Deion probably don't respect and would just call him out.
Well, that's the one reason why I thought Aaron Glenn could handle it, because Aaron Glenn to me is a guy who would not take shit from Deion.
Yeah,
like, he just wouldn't do it.
Yes.
I think he's that solid of a character guy that Deion wouldn't even bother him. You know, it's like a fly on the wall.
But it's real interesting. You know, you got the two pockets of with Shador. You got people who love him, and then you got people who hate, like it's nowhere in the middle. You either like him or you don't.
Right.
And I mean, and that's a terrible way to be, because, you know, on one hand, when he goes into the league, is people only picking him because his name is Sanders, or they picking him because he is good enough? See, he's gonna have to deal with that all the time, because his dad is so famous in football himself, and his dad was a great player. He's gonna have to, like Shiloh gonna have to fight. He's gonna have to fight, and he may be the one that comes out of this where he get the most love, because he gonna have to fight for his. Like, you know, he ain't got no great speed and no great size, and he ain't got a lot of hype behind his name. So he may come in and make a team, and, you know, because the safety position, they say he's top 2 or 3 at safety position right now in college, isn't he?
Yeah, I would put him at least top 5.
Yes. So,
but I would also say that one of the best things that could possibly, Abdul Carter was picked by the Giants number 3. I think one of the best things that could happen to Shador is to go into the second round.
Well, I can't see it.
I can't see it past Pittsburgh. I will agree with you there. If Pittsburgh doesn't take him, it's very possible he drops into the second.
Can you imagine what the TVs are going to be about tomorrow with like if he goes into the second round? I mean, when you were supposed to be the top 3 pick, first overall, and you go into the second round, I mean, that would be, for the ego for him, that would be huge.
Yeah, but you know, you've seen Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, even Tyler Shuck. They've all gotten a lot of love lately, where Shador has not. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see all 3 of them go before him. I wouldn't be surprised.
Man, that's just. And I keep hearing, and I keep from Dan Orlovsky, and he said if everything was in a perfect world, he said that Jalen Milroe has the best ceiling of all of them. He think the quarterback from Alabama has the best ceiling. I mean, and they compared him right now to Lamar Jackson.
Well, that what all I'm hearing about for comparisons to Lamar is that a lot of people think he's faster than Lamar in terms of just outright foot speed, but
Mhm.
in terms of, you know, decision making, precision on the passes, he doesn't have it.
Intangibles.
Right. He just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So that's got to be coached into him. If he can learn those things, then yes, he can be that good of a quarterback. But that's a big if, because those are the things like you give him Shador's ability to throw the ball where it belongs, and you give him Dart's ability to make the decisions, and you have yourself a good quarterback.
Do you think the way they talk about Shador, do you think the offense and the numbers that he got these last 2 years are just manufactured, that they're not like true numbers, that he
No, I watched enough of his games. I watched enough of him actually playing. Um, he does hold on to the ball too long. There's no question about that. He plays a little bit of hero ball, but in terms of being able to see what's in front of him and throw an accurate pass, he's got it. He absolutely has got it. But he is a pocket guy. He is not a scrambler. He might be able to go left and right, but he's not going to create with his feet.
so what do you think? So I got remember I told you for the Jets I wanted to go with the old chopper for Missouri at 8 with the Panthers. Man, I don't know what Cards health wise is, because they keep saying that something is wrong with him and he may not be healthy, and people
Oh,
saying
with the
that may,
Saints?
yeah, the Saints, they said that may be a good spot for Shador. But I was thinking, if everything and everybody's healthy, I think it should either be tight end Tyler Warren or that Tadaro McMillan. One of those guys should go uh, to the Panthers, and the other one should go to the Saints.
All right. So I had Tedero going to the Vegas, right? I had him going number 6 to Vegas because they need that explosiveness on offense that they just don't have. 8, I had Will Johnson, the DB out of Michigan, who I think
Oh,
after you take Travis Hunter off the board, I think he's the best DB in this class.
I
And
know, but you
they,
but you but you got Bryce Young, who just came. He had a like a tip last year after that Kansas City game. He just came on tremendously. And don't you think they need somebody to spread the field at a tight end or something like that with a Tyler Warren to give him more weapons on the offensive side instead of something on defense?
you know what? It's hard because I watched them get torched last year by the passing game by everybody they played.
Yes.
Their secondary was, I think, ranked 30th, maybe,
Yeah.
and I think if it's me, I think Bryce has the ability to make the plays. I think you can get a good wide receiver in the second round. I think it's that deep of a class. I think right now you take Will Johnson and shore up that secondary a little bit so that you don't have to do as much on offense because your defense isn't letting everybody score every time.
Well, you can. Yeah, that's a good thing too, because you can pair Will Johnson up with Horn, who they just signed for that big deal. So
Mm-hmm.
you have two shutdown corners. So yeah, that's possible. Then I'll say the Saints. I would say the Saints. They either could go with Shadur,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know, you're unsure with the quarterback. I mean, they keep saying something is wrong with Carr. I
Right.
have no earthly idea. But then they got the other young kid that came from University of South Carolina. He's going into his second year. They say he was going to be this amazing quarterback eventually. So do you want to stop his growth and get Shadur, or do you want to get an offensive guy to help with that offense and get the wide receiver out of Arizona?
Yeah. If Tero does not go to the Raiders, then yes, I would take him at the Saints. If he's still there on the board at 9, I would take him with the Saints. Give him that extra offensive weapon.
Mhm.
Again, he can open up the entire field. He's 6'5". He's got ginormous hands, and he can make people miss once he gets the ball.
Well, just think about it. That number 9 pick, every time he played against the number 2 pick, who's about to come up?
It's,
Yeah, it's going to be Will Campbell, shouldn't it?
they just yeah, you and I think both agree that it should be, but the Patriots pick is in, and they have Will Campbell. We got it.
Yep, yep. So
Protect,
I think with
protect May, man.
yeah, that number 9 pick, if McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona, goes to the Saints, remember what he did to the number 2 pick, Travis Hunter, the 2 years he played. I mean, he outperformed him both times.
Oh, and that's why I'm saying, like, if you want a wide receiver, if you need a wide receiver in this draft, he has to be the first person you look at.
Yes.
Size and maneuverability, and even his route running is pretty damn good. Like, he's the guy. So if
Yeah.
he's not gone by the Raiders, I can see him going with the Saints.
And then my 10th pick, obviously with the Bears, I'm going to go with the third best offensive tackle in the game that's in this draft,
Mhm.
Kelvin Banks out of Texas. He's
Okay.
given up only 3 sacks and 45 starts in college. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And obviously, we both know from, if anybody listening, if they watched the Bears last year, he was running. Caleb Williams was running for his life.
Oh, he was on his ass 68 times, man.
Yeah, so they for sure they need, unless it was a Travis Hunter, a player like that, Abdul Carter or something like that, they have to get an offensive tackle. They got to get somebody to protect the quarterback.
And I had him going. I didn't have Mambu already gone, so I had Armand Mambu here. So we both thought tackle
Mm-hmm.
because you have to protect. I think Caleb Williams has the ability to be a good, solid quarterback in this league for a long time if you don't let him keep getting put on his ass.
Yes.
And
See,
they've rebuilt pretty much that entire offensive line.
see now when they was doing the comparison, the football comparison to Cameron Ward. See now when I see Caleb Williams, when I saw him in college, and when I see him, he reminds me of Patrick Mahomes, not Cameron Ward. No disrespect to the guys on ESPN, but man, that guy Caleb Williams, he reminds me a lot of Patrick Mahomes. The off throws, the improvising, and he reminds me the most.
I would actually say, for me, that would be Jaden Daniels out of Washington.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play that
Commanders.
much.
What's that?
I've seen him play a couple of times, but it just looked like it to me the way Caleb Williams plays. Like it seems like he tries to play like Patrick Mahomes. Like just how he moves, it's like he tries to play like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but I don't think Jaden Daniels tries. I think he just does. I think
Yeah.
it's his style of play. He can move with his feet when he has to. He's got great accuracy. He's got great power on his throws. He took in his rookie season and beat the Lions in the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and they went on it in that game right there. They went on it for every fourth down.
Yeah.
And they got a first down on every fourth down. I'm like, are you serious? And if you was watching that game when they played in the NFC Championship against the Philadelphia Eagles, had they not turned the ball over, they could have beat them.
Yep.
Every time they was going in scoring position, they turned the ball over. That's the only reason why the Philadelphia won. And I was so, going into that Super Bowl, I'm a Kansas City fan. And I was like, man, if that young kid could do that, imagine what Patrick Mahomes. But we just up front, they were just dominating us. That was just we couldn't handle them. They was just too. There was too much up front.
So what makes a guy from the East Coast, South, right,
Mm-hmm.
who went to college in California, who currently lives in Texas after playing for the Steelers, the Jags, and the Browns? How the hell are you a Kansas City Chiefs fan?
Well, I'm mostly I'm one of those ones that are called a bandwagoner.
Oh, got you.
So I'm like so before I was a Chiefs fan, and I wouldn't necessarily say the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes.
Right,
If he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't be a fan, even though I like Andy Reid. But like my team used to be, Peyton Manning is my favorite all-time football player.
right.
Yeah, Peyton Manning is the GOAT to me of all GOATs when it comes to football. So then I got Patrick Mahomes second. So that's why I follow and I'm a big fan of the Chiefs is because of Patrick Mahomes. So if Patrick Mahomes was to retire, then I have to find me some other person that I'll root for. Like college football, I didn't really have a team I was rooting for. I was rooting. I did enjoy watching the Boise State running back go on that great run this year with trying to break Barry Sanders' record. I just think he's a special individual.
Browns pick is in, and they did take Mason Graham. So
There
we
you
got
go.
that one right.
So that right there. So now playing in the division with the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Ravens, they gonna need him because they now if you continue to double team Garrett, Mason should be good enough to win some of these one-on-one battles or get freed up. So and plus this should help and maybe and hopefully prolongs Garrett's career so he doesn't have to be double teamed all the time.
Right.
When you got a young guy who got a motor, so I think right there that's a great pick for them. And even though they probably wanted Travis Hunter and needed it, Travis Hunter, but probably long term, this guy may be able to play longer because Travis Hunter, with all that running and trying to play offense and defense, injury prone wise, he has a more of a chance of being injured versus a D tackle, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and had the Browns taken him, I would have seen him as a wide receiver first,
Yes.
and maybe bring him in for the dime package.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, leave him the hell out of defense. But at least it gives him that taste of defense when you know
Yes.
the other team's going to throw and
Yeah.
the dime. It puts him on the field, so it kind of appeases him there. But I'm happy with the Mason Graham pick. We both called it as soon as they traded down to 5. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I just think again, people in Cleveland may look at it right now and be disappointed that Travis is not coming there. But long term, I just think that a D tackle, um, he could play a lot longer than somebody who is trying to play 100 snaps a game on offense and defense and special teams because they're going to have Hunter on special teams too. So I mean that's a lot for a guy who weighs 175, 180 pounds.
And not only do you get a guy who can change the defensive line today, but now you've got 2 first rounders next season.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean, come on. You get
yes.
Mason Graham and a first rounder.
So
Get on the
it may
other.
it's a blessing in disguise sometimes when people do that. But I don't fault Jacksonville because what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of appease both sides of the ball. They're
Right.
saying I got a wide receiver for Trevor Lawrence and I got a defensive back for the defense. So we want, we got the best in both positions because he's supposed to be the best wide receiver and the best DB. So we got in the draft, we got a 2-for-1. So hey, we end up winning this. So I don't begrudge the pick. I
No.
just hope they don't run him into the ground where his career like a I went computed to like a Eddie George where they was giving him like 300 carries, and
Right.
then in year 6 or 7 he started to wear down. But I would say if Travis Hunter plays 100 plus snaps every game for 18 games or 17 games, that's not feasible. And that long term, he not going to be able to survive that because his body will break down. Because I mean, it's just not possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's why when you look, even offensive linemen, but they've got this every single play. So
Yes,
you see a guy like Bruce Matthews who played it forever. That's impressive as hell.
yes,
So, but he's also got size to
yes,
offset some of that power coming in against him. Travis Hunter does not have that.
yes. And if you look at history, your best bet with O linemen and D linemen, they usually, if they're great players, they usually could give you a decade of high, of like, good play without their body breaking down. They could give you a good play because you're always rotating, especially on the D line. You're rotating guys. Even Garrett gets a lot of rotation himself. He's in there in special situations when it's third and long or the game is in the fourth quarter and there's 2 minutes to go or whatever like that, but they always rotate the D line in most of these situations. So he should be, if he could play up to his standards, he should be good.
Oh, wow. I don't know that I saw that coming.
What happened?
We got the Raiders did take, I think you called it, Ashton Genty.
Yes, I said it.
So good call on that. I did not see that one happening. I thought
Well,
they'd try and expand the field a little bit more, but they
well,
didn't do it.
well. Who is running the show right now for them?
All right, you got it. Yeah,
Tom Brady.
yeah,
Even though you got Carroll is the head coach, Tom Brady is really running the show.
yeah,
So Tom Brady is looking at it. Remember when he got to New England? I got a quarterback. Let me manage the game when I was first there with Bill Belichick. What did they have? Great defense, great running game.
yep.
Manage, don't turn the ball over, make throws here and there. Let's lean on this running game. Let's lean on this defense. Raiders gonna try to do the exact same thing.
Right. And I think that's probably a wise decision. You brought in Gino, and I have nothing against Gino, but at this point in his career, to be a game manager with a solid run game and an incredible defense, I think is where he is in his career right now. He can still
Yes,
take throws, but you don't want to depend on him.
yes, and he got his money,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and he got his money, so I'm
He
pretty
got
sure he's
paid.
happy with that. And he knows Carroll. He knows Pete Carroll. So I mean, it should be, everything should be good. I just think that when you got that young horse, lean on him,
Yeah.
lean on him, and and now, because if you look at it, what did they do up in Seattle? We gonna lean on Marshawn Lynch, Russell. Don't get us in trouble. Manage the game and let the Legion of Boom run that defense.
Well,
And I'm assuming that,
even prior to that, when you had Ladainian Tomlinson playing with the Chargers,
yes, I
you
just
know,
think that's the way to go for a team who doesn't have a franchise type quarterback.
yeah,
If you give them a running game, you give them a chance. And this guy, like I said, they said his floor is Ladainian Tomlinson, his ceiling is Walter Payton. You're basically saying he's a can't miss.
right.
So if he's a can't miss, you got to take him.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what we did here in Cleveland with
Mason,
Nick Chubb. And
yeah,
before Nick Chubb, we had Ernest Biner, we had Greg Pruitt, Mike Pruitt, we had Kevin Mack. Like we've
yeah.
always had strong running games here in Cleveland.
Now the next pick is going to be the one, if between me and you, with the Jets. How is this going to go? You think they may get Shadur?
I'm saying it's a long shot, but it's a possibility. I would like to see it happen because I think it could make both Sanders and Fields better.
I think the next four picks with the Jets, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bears, it looked like in there. That's one. It look. I mean, it could go either way with all these guys. All these guys, because I picked with the Jets. I picked the Missouri O tackle. Like you said, they could go with Kelvin Banks, or they could go with Shadur. And then I went down with the Panthers. I said Tyler Warren. Panthers, hey, they may go get an offensive tackle and get Armand, or hey, they may go get the wide receiver from Arizona.
Right. I mean, Teteroy is
It
still on the board, man, and
Yeah, it's really who's on the board, because if you listen to Mel Kiper and all those guys, they would say pick the best person on the board. And I'm assuming with Mel Kiper's board, Shadur is the best player on the board left. That's right now.
could be. But at the same time, you've got who is it? Garrett Wilson's playing in New York right now.
Yes.
You team him up with a Teteroy McMillan. Even Fields can't screw that up.
Yes. I seen that one proposed trade that they was talking about doing with sending Garrett Wilson to Pittsburgh for Pickens.
Yeah, no, there's no way in hell I would have done that.
Yeah, I can't see
I'm
that.
not. I'm not even happy. I'm not even happy that Pickens is that Kenny Pickett, the other
Yeah.
Pickett, is here.
Yeah, it's not.
But
I mean, because Pickett wants his money. George Pickett gonna want his money pretty soon, and now you brought a guy in making over 30, and now he's the guy.
right, but honestly, if it's me, I would rather have. I would have Pickens' ability with
Okay.
yeah, with his mentality.
DK. Yeah.
With his mentality though.
Yeah.
Because there are times where Pickens will take the day off, the play or two off.
Yeah.
And you don't want to see that out of any wide receiver.
For sure.
He will do it. He will drop shit that should never be dropped. He will run the wrong route. Like his mind isn't always where it needs to be in the game. So but if you throw something near him, he's going to grab it.
See, and that's the thing too. You can't have Shadur to go to a team where a guy is like that, because that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help his development.
Nope.
Because he sits here and Pickett wants to take the day off, and he throws a pick. They're gonna blame it on Shadur, and it could have been that Pickett ran the wrong route.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really interesting. Again, like I said, these next 4 picks, depending on how they go, is going to pretty much shape, because if Shadur doesn't go in this top 10, he's not going until the earliest to Steelers.
Right, 21.
Yeah. And then if he don't go 21,
he could very well end up in the second round.
Yeah, they had him. I think the latest mock draft they had him in 29. Who was that to?
Don't know.
Yeah, they had him at 29.
Let me get everything in front of me.
So 29, that had to be the teams that lost in the AFC and the NFC championship games.
Well, that would be.
There ain't gonna be no Baltimore, no Buffalo, none of those guys.
Would be Washington, right?
No, it can't be that.
Let's see where we go. All right.
Where the 7th pick is coming up.
29 is Washington, but Washington's not going to take him because they've got Jaden Daniels, and he is the man down there.
The pick just came in. Who was it?
Armand Membu.
I'm rolling today, baby.
You got lucky on that one. No,
yeah.
I mean it's a good pick. I guess what they're doing. The only thing I think is that they've got Fields in there. I don't think Fields is a long-term guy. So to me, they're doing what the Giants are doing and what the Browns are doing, and they're plugging in a couple of holes and waiting till next year.
They're waiting for Arch Manning.
Right. But now that Cleveland has 2 first-round picks next year,
they may be able to get Arch.
They might be able to go number 1.
It's no way, because the Mannings would do what they did with Eli. It would be no way in God's green earth they would let Arch go to Cleveland.
Yeah. you know, I love my team, but man, this is our Super Bowl. This is the one night that we have hope.
Yeah. Well, now with the Panthers, I, I think it's either going to be Warren or McMillan. I think it's going to have to be one of those guys.
All
I
right.
think it's going to be one of the offensive guys. One is either going to be the tight end or the wide receiver, and I pick the wide receiver to go.
So you
So
think it's going to be Tyrell McMillan going to the
no, I think it's going to be Tyler Warren going to the Panthers.
Tyler Warren going to the Panthers? Okay.
Yeah, and then McMillan going to go to the Saints, and then Banks going to go to the Bears. That's yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I'm sticking with Will Johnson going to the Panthers.
Oh yeah, so yeah, the Will Johnson. Yeah, because I mean, even though they said he had a great workout, I mean, he must have had a really bad hamstring pull.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. If he stays healthy, I think he's got the potential to be like a Darrell Revis. If
Yes,
he stays healthy, and that's a big if.
yeah,
Do you take him top 10 when there's that if? I don't know.
yeah, that's a lot. I mean, you have to do your due diligence with the injuries and all that and see how really bad the hamstring because being a cornerback, you got to run a lot.
Yeah,
So and hey, you need your legs, and if your legs don't work, you're no good to anybody.
correct.
So I mean, do they want to take a pick like that, or do they want to take the consensus number one overall tight end who was they say by far the best tight end in the game and who can spread the field and do all that. So it's going to be real interesting to see which one of these guys, or you take the best wide receiver, which is McMillan. I mean, you got three different options on how you want to do it. But I think with the way that Bryce Young came on this year, I just think they're going to get him an offensive weapon because they need something. Because I don't think what is the I think his best wide receiver was the guy who came from Minnesota, who is pretty old now.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to get it done. I think they're going to have to get him some some new and up and coming players. And I don't know what they're going to do in free agency or anything like that. So I think
Well, I
McMillan
don't
is.
know what there's left to do for offensive weapons in free agency. I don't know what's left.
I don't think it's anything because most everybody don't make the decision on where they're going. So now you're the only way you may pick up somebody who is really talented is one if he get released because of contract issues or they don't want to pay him the money or he got injured and he may come back in the middle of the year or something like that. That's the only way, because you just never know with Tyreek Hill. He may end up not even going back to Miami. He's always talking about he wants to, go to a contender and this and that. So heck, you never know. You just never know. And you see what most of these teams are doing. Look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati put all their money on offense. Man,
Mhm.
we gotta get weapons. And they may give up 40, 45 points a game, but they're gonna score 40, 45 points a game.
Right.
And
And yeah,
so
I mean, I think you're right about, Adam Thielen is getting old. Last year he had what, like 650 yards? Nah, 615 yards and 5 touchdowns. And that's following 2023 when he was over 1,000,
yes,
but he's
and
getting older. He's 34.
that's up there for a wide receiver.
It is. So and yes, they have, you know, Coker is there, but I don't think Coker's top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're going to take a wide receiver, though, I think it has to be Tedero.
Yeah, it's either him or or the tight end because most of the time the tight end is a safe bet because one he can help in the running game with
Mm-hmm.
blocking, and two he should be a mismatch for smaller linebackers and safeties.
Right. Yeah, if
which
you
is
try
which
to
this
put
guy is pretty good. Yeah, so he gives you a two-way on offense, helping the blocking game when you run the ball because they just extended their running back. They got a young running back they just extended, so they paid him, so they got a good running game, a decent running game, and so he can help out with the blocking, and he should be able to extend plays when he's flat. Oh, here come the pick in.
Panthers select.
Wide receiver Arizona.
Look at that.
Wide receiver Arizona. So we just said it was going to either be one of these picks.
Yeah, and honestly, we both agreed that Tedero would be there, the, the
Yes.
the the top of two. So it was the right decision. I still think they need more help at DB, but at least now they'll be able to maybe put up some extra points to at least compete in areas they weren't able to last season.
So now with that being said,
Who do you want for the Saints?
well, I had McMillan now. I think it's either going to be Tyler Warren or it's going to be Shadur.
You okay.
It's
It,
it's a possibility.
it's also a possibility though if they're gonna go with a quarterback, which is always a possibility because Kellen's in there now and he can coach the shit out of a quarterback.
Yeah.
Do you go with a Jackson Dart instead of a Shador?
Yeah, it could be and yeah, because this guy has been moving up the boards. He been quietly moving up the board, so it could be Dart. But I'm going to stick with Tyler Warren.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with Tyler Warren because I know with the offensive coordinator, you got to have them tight ends, man. You got to have somebody that can because they wide receiver core is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got a nice young wide receiver core, and I think with the tight end they help with Alvin Kamara and all those guys. I think that would be now. I would say the sleeper would be Shadur or Dart. But I will if I had to bet anything, I'm gonna go with Tyler Warren. Then my B and C, I will go with either Shadur or Dart. One of them may slip in here because Carr, you just don't know what you're gonna get with Carr.
Right.
And
Before we started, I told you, I had a flyer here and I had Milrow at
yeah,
9 because Kellen's there. And as a quarterback, the things that Milrow is missing are the things that Kellen can coach,
mm-hmm.
and then you have all the other explosive shit that just makes him that much better. So that's why I was willing to throw that in there as a flyer on my initial.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I always wish I could be in these rooms where these guys are at and see what they're actually, how many people are picking for this guy, how many people are picking for that guy, and who makes the final decision. Is it the head coach, the general manager, the owner? It will be, and that's what the Benson family with the Saints. I mean, I'm assuming um, maybe Benson, the lady, she's probably, well, I don't know if she's even involved in it. I wonder does she leave it to the staff?
No.
Because a lot of these guys, especially the guys where I remember, some years back when the Tennessee took Vince Young and everybody else wanted somebody else, but the owner said, I want Vince Young. I want Texas quarterback. So,
And honestly, I was really disappointed with how he turned out. He had the one good year. Vince
he
did.
he just didn't he had the talent,
He
the
didn't
work, the work ethic.
he didn't want it. He didn't want it enough to actually do the work to be good.
Yeah, the work ethic. He had all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
It was the work ethic. So I wonder right now, Shadur is sweating right now because if he don't get picked at this one, he probably is not going any earlier than 21 unless the Steelers or someone in the second round moves up in the first round.
Right. And I don't, now that the Browns have done what they've done, I don't see them trading back up into the first round.
Nah,
I don't
nah.
see that happening now that they've moved down, gotten their guy. Mason Graham, I think, was a great pick, but I do
And
not see them taking any of these extra picks this year that they've accumulated to move back into the first. They got it because they got that many holes.
yeah, that first
Apparently,
rounders
the
go.
Saints
That
pick
first.
is in. We'll see when they actually announce it, but the Saints pick is in.
Uh-oh.
And
I'm nervous. I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's Warren.
yeah,
I mean, he is. He is. I mean, the tight end is the quarterback's best friend.
it is. But again, we don't know where the Derek Carr situation is. So we don't know what their actual quarterback situation is.
Or do you think they may give Spencer Rattler a shot?
You know what? I watched him when he was playing in the XFL.
Here
Spencer
it goes.
Rattler.
The picks in.
Now on ESPN, they're saying that the one guy said he would have taken Shador here. Let's see what they say. Wow. I didn't see that. Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle out of Texas.
But yeah,
I mean, it makes sense, but I
yes.
didn't see that one coming.
So now I had I had Banks going at 10 to the Bears. So now I don't see another good tackle right now. I'm going with Tyler. I'm going with Tyler Warren, tight end for the Bears for Caleb Williams.
Because A, he is a receiving target, but B, he can also protect.
Yes, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Tyler Warren at what's the name?
At 10
So
with the
so
Bears.
everybody that I picked, they went in the top 10, but the last three picks, my first seven was good. My last three kind of they went like three different ways.
Right. Well, yeah, I think both of us had 1 through 5 right, just not with the right team after the swap with Cleveland and Jacksonville. But I think we both had Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, and Mason Graham,
Yes, and then I had Genty,
which you got
Membo.
right. I did not.
I got seven right, got eight wrong, got nine wrong, and I got 10 wrong because he just went. So hopefully, I think Tyler Warren gonna go right now because I don't think I think he's the best player. We know Shadur is not going here, so I think Tyler Warren will go here, and this will be a big help in the offensive game. He'll help protect the quarterback, help block in the run game, and be able to be uh, a big outlet for Caleb Williams because they need some help, and this should be it right here.
Yeah, and I mean they've already made their pick, so we'll just have to wait till they actually come out and announce it. But yeah, I mean, looking over the top 9 to this point: Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, Graham, Jonte, Membu, McMillan. Banks is the only one that I did not have in the top 10 of those
Yeah, so
people. Actually, I
it,
didn't have Genty in top 10. I had Genty going uh, to Dallas at 12. But
well, I'm pretty sure if he would have failed the 12, Dallas would have taken him.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think it so far I've gotten the top. I got seven right. I got the top nine right, not in the same order, but the players like
right.
they just went to some different teams. So if Warren goes to the Bears, then I got 10 in a
You
different
knew the
order, but I
top
got them
10.
all.
Hey, man, you played this game. I did not play this game. I'm just a deep, hard fucking fan, and I think I've done pretty well too.
Hey, you did outstanding. You did outstanding. You
Hmm.
did outstanding.
But so, what do you think about the idea of expanding the NFL first to like a Toronto or a Mexico City, and second to a London and Germany.
Well, I know a lot of people probably wouldn't like going to Toronto because I hear a lot of people talk about the NBA and when they have to go to the Toronto team in the NBA that they hate going through customs. They hate being there because they don't have ESPN and all the channels. So a lot of people don't like going to Toronto. So I don't think football wise, I don't think it'll probably be the same way with the cost of living and going through customs and all that. London, I'm pretty sure some people would probably love to live in London over here from the States. I
Mhm.
don't think it'd be a big number of people, but I mean, I don't know what I would do if I had to move to London and you couldn't see your family, but you were like a not a star player, but you was making good money, but your wife and kids had to stay back and go to school unless you sent them to school in London.
Right.
Like that would be tough.
Yeah. No, there's
That yeah, in Germany, that's what 17 hours.
yeah.
Oh, the picks in.
Of all of them, I think Mexico is probably the most likely next place,
Yes.
Mexico City. But I think the shit needs to stay here. Pick is in, and they're talking about the death of Steve McMichael.
Oh yeah. Rest in peace, McMichael.
Yeah, he was only 59, man.
Yeah.
It's 8 over you and 4 over me. it's uh, it's rough. I don't know what they're doing here. They're just
Oh, I think they're
a
having
little
somebody.
speech.
Yeah.
Wow, that Peyton was that long ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Man, we are old.
Yeah, I know, man. 50 is whew, I feel good. I can't complain. I feel good.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I'm in oh, there we go. It is Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan.
Wow. Nobody did see this.
No,
Well, I think this
I
is
love Colston Loveland. I'm a Michigan fan. I know I live in Cleveland, but I'm a Michigan fan. Colston Loveland is an impossible cover, right? For the defense. He's a wide receiver in a tight end's body, but he's not going to give you a hell of a lot of pass protection. Like he's not a real strong blocker. He is more of a route runner. So
I bet you no mock draft had him ahead of Tyler Warren.
I don't don't disagree. I think yeah, even ESPN right now is talking about how they thought Tyler Warren would be ahead.
But just think about it, Dave. Sometimes these teams see something in a player that may fit the scheme that they're running, even though everybody else may say, man, this guy's the guy, this guy's the guy, but they may have studied enough, talked to the guy, seen enough stuff on him, talked to the coaches, the people behind the scenes, and been like, this is the guy that is better for our scheme than Tyler, even though Tyler may be more talented,
Right.
but this guy's strengths help us more than Tyler's.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
So we've got the pick is in for the 49ers. Who do you think they're going to go with just off the top of your head?
49ers, what do they need? Man, they need everything. I would say
They need defensive line, offensive line, running back, a defensive back. Like they are
man, they need a wide receiver too because they let Debo go,
yeah.
so they can. I would say Tyler because then they can probably get rid of the tight end they got now, because right now they're sitting here saying they're going to be cap strapped for all this money that they're trying to pay the quarterback. Or they could get the wide receiver from Missouri.
So let's see here. Right now, well, let's see if I can figure out who they've got here. Roster of the Niners. We're looking at, well, wide receiver, they've got Brandon Ayuk, who is, you know, a good
Or they can go with,
counting now.
I would say, let's go with, I'm going to go Mike Green.
Okay.
Let's go Mike Green, edge rusher, Marshall. I just see the pick with the Georgia linebacker.
Yeah.
I didn't have him.
Mikael
I didn't have
Williams.
him rated that high.
Mikael Williams. You did say they were going to get an edge rusher, and that's what they're calling him.
Yeah. So they got him. So Dallas is coming up. I think Dallas gonna get a receiver. I'm gonna go with the receiver out of Texas, Matthew Golden.
Okay. Yeah, I
He's
mean,
supposed to be. He
honestly,
fast too.
that's what they need the most, probably, as a wide receiver.
Well, I mean, they need to get Dak something. They need to get him something, because I mean, you can't keep relying on just the number one guy they got right now.
Right. But at the same time, their entire defense needs work, right? Defensive line,
Yeah,
linebacking core, secondary, all of it needs
but
work.
but now you got. I mean, you still ain't paid. You still ain't paid Parson.
Right.
What you gonna do? You got to. I mean, this a big paycheck. Somebody gonna have to pay this young man.
Yeah. And you're right here that, all they have right now is CeeDee Lamb. You can't run an offense with one guy. So
I
let's
think
see.
I think I think it'll be Matthew Golden. They need. I think because he surprised everybody by how fast he ran.
Right. So here's the pick.
Or it could be Tyler Warren.
Tyler Booker.
Who is that?
Tyler Booker is an Alabama guard.
Wow. I mean, again, we didn't see this.
Yeah, this is one. I honestly, I didn't think they had much of an issue with their offensive line. That's the one part of their team I thought was okay. And
Wow.
so they go and they get Tyler Booker, a guard out of Alabama. Not what I expected. He's actually very happy. He's
Yeah.
doing a dance on his way up to the podium, but totally unexpected.
Now you got Miami. So Miami, I, man, Miami could go. They need defense. They need offensive help to help Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Maybe they may go with the tight end to get Warren.
Tight end is probably their most glaring offensive spot outside of O line. They do need help on the other side of the ball.
They may get. What about Will Johnson?
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Honestly, I think he's the best corner that's on the board. So that's a possibility, but I think
They're going to go offense. I think they
they're
need.
going to go offense.
I think they're going. I say either Tyler Warren or Matthew Goat. They need a wide receiver or tight end, because competing against Buffalo and them, they go Buffalo. They got need some firepower to go with Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I would say
I don't think at 13 they expected um Tyler Warren to be there. Nobody expected him to be down here at 13.
Right. Now, I will say, though, their biggest need overall is offensive line, but I don't know that they address it at 13
Nah,
with
I
all
don't
the
think it's
tackles that were worthy of it already
are
being
gone.
gone. Yeah. So everybody's off the board that I would have taken here. And so, yeah, maybe you go tight end because he can protect, and he can give you another outlet outside of the 1.5 receivers that you have right now.
Yeah, because I mean he needs some with his concussion problems and being injury prone. He need a quick outlet anyway.
Right.
And
And
there's not another running back or anybody else that's high powered. I would say the only two main skill guys, in my opinion, that's still available would be Matthew Golden and Tyler Warren. I would say either one of those would be the better picks. And the safe pick will probably be a defensive person, and it probably be Will Johnson because he's probably the best available on the board.
right. And I will say, I'm kind of buddies with their defensive coordinator down there, Anthony Weaver.
Yes.
I think he can do. If you looked at their defense, it was actually good. They just got screwed because Miami played half the season without a quarterback and was constantly having their defense back on the field, right?
Yeah.
So you keep a healthy quarterback. I think Anthony Weaver can do miracles with most of the players that he already has. And I think you're right. I think you stick to the offensive side of the ball and either go wide receiver or tight end. I would go tight end just for the added protection.
Yes, because he needs it because he tends to get a concussion or two pretty much every year.
Yes, he
Yeah.
does.
Yes, he tends
And
to get
not a
that.
pretty one.
Yeah. So he tends to get that quite a bit. Yeah, but it is like you still got Stewart who's available, an edge rusher out of A&M. It's gonna be interesting on these next picks because some of these people are falling that people didn't think was gonna fall. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they had Will Johnson probably going in the top 10 too.
I had him up top, yeah. So what we're seeing for the best available left,
It's Shadur
actually number one, they're saying Jalen Walker, linebacker out of
out of Georgia.
Georgia. Then Tyler Warren, obviously out of Penn State. Will Johnson, Michigan. Then they're saying Jahdae Barron out of Texas at corner, which is
Oh, the Jim Thorpe Award winner.
yeah. And then they have Derek Harmon out of Oregon, a defensive tackle, edge guy, James Pierce out of Tennessee. So, I mean, I'm looking here to see, and I'm looking at the top 25 people that they still say are on the board, and Shador is 24th of them.
Wow.
So they have 23 people ranked above Shador on the board available still. And honestly, Travion Henderson, I think maybe he is. I think his game can actually translate running back to
You know
post.
that young man hasn't fumbled in like his whole career at Ohio
Ohio
State.
State, yeah. Yeah. I think and he's got some power and he's got some speed. I think I think he's worthy of going somewhere. He's not genty by any means, but he's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that run it's coming back. The running back position is coming back because Saquon Barkley is bringing it, brought it back, him and Derrick Henry, but it's still a little skepticism about it, drafting somebody that high. You have to be a special talent like Genty is, and he was deserving of going to number 6 pick to the Raiders.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you can't have a good passing game if you don't have a decent rushing game. You just can't.
Mm-mm. because you got to have that threat.
You
And not only can he run the ball, he can catch the ball too. So that makes it even much better.
right. So to me, I don't understand personally why the compensation for running backs is, where quarterbacks are through the roof. You saw, I mean, Myles Garrett, let's be honest, he's a damn good player, but he's now the highest paid player there is.
Yes.
Um, Nick Chubb, before the knees went, before the injuries, was, I mean, you had other running backs in the league saying he was the best running back in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Even Travis Henry was saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a position that you can get the shit beat out of you, as you know, being
Mm-hmm.
one. And so they don't want to pay that much money for less duration, yada yada yada. But then you compare that again to, like you said, how many concussions have you seen in Miami to Tua, and yet they're going to pay him all kinds of money. His career could
Yep.
be over any second.
Yep. Who they pick? Who Dolphins pick?
Kenneth Grant,
Who is?
defensive tackle, Michigan.
Wow, man!
Did not see that coming either.
Somebody gonna get a great tight end, man. Tyler Warren. He probably like, what is going on? Will
It,
Johnson.
it,
They're like, what
it,
is going on?
I cannot see Tyler Warren dropping below the Colts. They
Yeah,
need
I was
it
going.
in
I was gonna
desperately.
say. I was gonna say the Colts need a tight end, so
Yeah,
because they need him with their quarterback. So yeah, I was gonna say he was gonna go there.
yeah. So I think this is where he finally comes off the board. I think it as I think you can fairly say that it was a little bit of a free fall for him. I think he probably
Yes,
would have gone higher, but I don't think he goes any further than 14. I think the Colts sweep him up and say thank you everybody else for not taking him.
because I at 14 I had the other tight end going.
Right. Yeah. Colston, who ended up
Yes, I
going
had Colston Loveland going to the Colts.
right. And instead he got taken at 10.
Yes, and so basically they swap positions.
Right.
So I mean, I think that's a. I don't
And
know how much in money wise, but I'm pretty sure he probably ticked off about it not being the first tight end taken off the board.
maybe, but in a rookie contract, I
It,
think
it doesn't really matter.
it's not that big of a deal. Your first round, your top 15, your rookie contract. I don't think financially it's going to be that big of a deal.
Well, and I think
Think
playing in the dome may be better because it won't be cold like it's going to be in Chicago.
right. And Loveland is fine up there because he played in Michigan.
Yes.
So he doesn't mind the
Yeah.
cold. It's not going to bother him. But I think it might actually fit better
Mm-hmm.
because the Colts' need for a tight end does also include they also need
Blocking.
offensive linemen, right?
Yes.
So they needed a guy who could do the blocking and the heavy lifting, and that's not Colton Loveland's strong point.
Well, depending on how Richardson plays this year, because you can't have 40-year-old backup quarterback in there again playing all those snaps.
No, he's in
Eventually,
Cleveland now.
oh yeah. So hey, I mean he's still doing his thing. I ain't mad at him.
No, hey man, if you can make money at 40 in the NFL, you're doing something right.
And when he does get in, he plays actually pretty well.
Yeah,
He outplayed Richardson last year, and that should never happen.
right. And picks in for the Colts. Tyler Warren.
Yeah, we know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good stuff for him. So now what we got the Falcons. The Falcons.
Falcons
I'm
are
gonna
on the
go with
clock. Falcons, I
and
mean,
Arizona. I'm gonna
honestly,
go. I'm gonna go to Falcons. I'm gonna go with Walker.
okay, I think they need defense more than they need anything else.
Yeah, I'm going linebacker Jalen Walker from Georgia.
Okay. And yeah, I think, I would say that he's probably the best number one on who's left on the board. And Yeah, I mean, if you want a linebacker, I don't know that you're going to find a better one. Uh,
I mean, you got your pick. You can either go with Will Johnson, or you can go with Walker, or you can go with Shamir Stewart, Ed Rutcher from A&M.
you could, or you
If
could
you,
do what's the guy from Tennessee? Pierce, right?
yeah,
James Pierce Jr., is that his name?
yeah.
He's pretty good out of Tennessee.
So I'm assuming the Falcons are going to go defense.
I think that's really the only way they can go at this point.
Yes.
Think their offense is good enough. Their offensive line probably needs a little bit of help, but their defense,
There's nobody on the offensive line that's
right?
good enough to be picked at 15.
Right.
Any lineman.
So I agree with you on Jalen Walker out of Georgia. Let's see if that's what they end up doing.
Yeah, they
The only real surprises for me this, to this point,
was that guard.
well, yeah, I didn't see Tyler Booker coming into at 12, but I also didn't see Kenneth Grant coming in at 13.
Mm-mm.
You know, I, I think there are so many other guys that, you know,
It's
I,
it,
I
it's
don't
not
know. I
it's
feel
not
like,
it's but this is the first time we've gone almost 15 picks. I only have one quarterback.
yeah, it's
Usually you have
a
like three or
while,
four by now.
right? But you know what? I think in a lot of cases, I think a lot of the GMs out there are talking themselves out of it because
Yeah,
they see what the class looks like next year and the depth of quarterback next year, so they don't want to spend a first rounder on anybody in this class.
yeah, but yeah, this is yeah. I mean,
Now, I
because
would be surprised if either Shador or Jackson Dart or Milrow, one of those three, I think somebody in the first round takes, most likely the Steelers at 21.
man, if it's not Shador, boys, I can't wait to see first take ESPN tomorrow because I'm pretty sure Dion gonna put something on social media or something because he is they're gonna be livid if he doesn't make the first round.
Yeah. Well, let's say that we do, let's say that we get Grant Jalen Walker going into Atlanta. Following them, we've got the Cards.
I'm gonna go with Shamir Stewart with out of A&M,
Shamir Stewart.
edge rusher.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's there's the
Because
question there of, do they need to go edge rusher or do they need, I mean, they do need one, but they also need offensive help, man.
I
That
mean you could go wide receiver and get one of those wide receivers, but I don't know if that's what they want to do. If they want to shore up the defense a little bit, or if they want to give what's the name some help, Murray some help.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that probably the best offensive weapons that are out there still on the board, Matthew Golden, obviously out of Texas, is probably the best wide receiver that's still on
Yeah,
the board. Um, Outside of that, I mean, maybe
it's rare. It is rare. Well, I
Elijah
keep saying
Arroyo out of
I
Miami at tight end, maybe, but honestly, for pass catchers, that's really all there is.
yeah, and
Um,
that it. I'm surprised that the safety hasn't come off the board. Usually by now a safety would have come off the board. Um, which is because usually it usually a go of wide receivers and quarterbacks.
mhm.
But for some reason this year, that position is it's kind of funny because Travis Hunter plays both, and he did the wide receiver and he got the cornerback. He did both of them first, so it's kind of hard to, you know.
But I am surprised that both Will Johnson and Jahdae Barron out of Texas, the two top cornerbacks in the draft, straight corners,
Yes.
are still both on the board. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a little nutty.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. There is a minute and a half left, and the Falcons still have not turned in their pick.
So they right now they
They're
contemplating
down to the
what.
wire. They're probably talking about trading out of that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is probably trying to make a trade to get more picks.
Yep.
Because it may be the draft. I think this draft is not as strong of a draft as in past drafts.
Right. And there were a lot of people that were speculating that if somebody was going to come back into the first round, it would be around 15, but they just made their pick. So we'll see who they ended up with. But their pick is in, and the cards are on the clock now. Let's see who in the next 40 seconds they ended up with in Atlanta. But
yeah, Atlanta's up and coming. I mean, now that they got their franchise quarterback, they're gonna probably be a running gun team because they got a great quarterback and a great running back and some pretty good wide receivers.
yeah, that's one thing that I like about Penix is his decision making.
Yeah,
It
he
seems to
can
be pretty
throw.
strong. Um, so the Falcons pick is in. We haven't had it announced yet.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Man, I'm just thinking right now down in Texas right now. Well, I'm here in Texas, but down there where Shadur is at, what's going through his mind?
Where is he tonight? In Texas.
Somewhere in Texas. I think probably where Dion has a home at.
You're up.
So
You're up more north, right?
yeah, I'm up in Austin,
Yeah.
the Austin area. So he's down there probably closer to Dallas, somewhere like that.
Yeah, that
That
would
is,
that would make more sense, wouldn't it? after
yeah. So
after Dion having been there.
yeah, and everybody kept speculating throughout the whole offseason, that Dion will go to Dallas and bring Shadur and stuff like that. But I don't
Yeah.
think Jerry Jones. That was not something Jerry Jones was probably interested in.
No, no. Jerry Jones has too big of an ego and wants too much control over what his head coaches does that there's no way in hell he brings in a guy like Dion who has
Yeah,
the exact same level of ego and desire to do all of himself, It
and I
just
don't think nobody was willing to give that Dak $60+ million either
right.
in a trade. I don't think nobody would trade for that.
The pick for the Falcons is in, and it is Jalen Walker out of Georgia. So we got that one.
So I think the next one should be. I'm going with Stewart out of A&M.
Okay.
Stewart out of A&M.
And you
I
think
mean,
that's the best fit for the
what they're trying to do, because I think if you look at everything right now, everything is kind of, the order didn't go the right way, but those picks in the top, whatever, 15, they
right,
were, except the two, like that guard and that one other player. Those guys were picking somewhere in there. It was just different orders. They
right,
all was in that top 15. Only two players kind of threw a wrench in that. So
right.
right now,
Complete surprises, right.
yeah. So you got probably Williams, who should not, Johnson, who should be off the board, the corner from Michigan,
Right.
and probably the wide receiver from Texas should be off.
Golden.
Those
Yeah.
two probably should be off, and it should be the way the draft is going.
Yeah.
I think that's the way the draft was supposed to go. Because
But
now
you would put Stewart over James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee.
yeah, because if you look at it, I don't think they have him going. Uh, Pierce, I don't even think they even. I don't think he's even in the first round. I don't even think so.
The initial run for him was position rank of 4, overall rank 16, and for Shamar Stewart, position rank 6, overall 22.
Yeah.
So they actually had him. They actually have Pierce about 6 higher overall, but there's a little bit of a different style between the two, also.
Yeah.
You know, the way that I think Pierce is more of a mauler, right?
Hmm.
And Stewart is more of a dancer. He can get in there using his little tricks. So I mean, it depends what you want.
I think out of the next, once this Arizona goes, I think we sh- we should have some defensive players like corners and safety start going.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, and nothing against this draft class, but I mean, it's a fairly thin draft for safeties. You've got what's his
You
name
got
out of South Carolina,
you got Starks from Georgia.
right?
I mean, he's the only one that I think him. He may be the only one that goes in the first round.
Right. But I can't say the dude's last name. It's like Imenguri. He was in South Carolina. He was stout, at safety. He, yeah, I mean, but those two are the only two I would consider
I
even,
think it should
the first
be
round and a half.
you got Johnson, Barron, Hairston, and Amos. Those you got out of the next probably 15 picks. I think at least three gonna be corners gonna go. Corners are gonna go. I think it'll be one safety, and then it'll mostly be like edge rushers or D tackles.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I
Because
really am surprised Will Johnson's still on the board.
because I got my team, the Kansas City Chiefs, picking an offensive tackle out of Ohio State, Josh Simmons.
Or they're at 31, yeah.
Yeah, so that looked like, in my opinion, there's no more offensive tackles going anywhere. I think he may be the last one that goes in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like this draft, like this will be the first time in quite some time that you only have one quarterback if Shadur doesn't or Dart go in the first round. This will be the first time in quite some time.
I think one of them has to go to Pittsburgh. I think one of those two has to go to Pittsburgh.
Can you see Pittsburgh not taking Shadur?
I could see it if they took Dart, but that's it. Like, I think they have to take a quarterback. I hate them. I
Yeah.
live in Cleveland, man. I've been here my whole life. I can't stand the Steelers, but I can't imagine them being in their position and not taking a quarterback right now when you have a couple of options, whether it's Shadur, whether it's Jackson Dart, whether it's Shuck. I wouldn't stretch my way for Milrow here, but I think either Shadur or Jackson Dart, have to come off for Pittsburgh.
I before Miro came back, declared for the draft, I thought he should have stayed in school. All right, the draft's in. What's the pick? I think the pick's coming
Walter
up.
Nolan, DT out of Mississippi.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean,
Yep. See, now it's going to be D tackles, um, edge rushers, at corners. Like you're going to get a run of defensive players now.
yeah, and I mean, you were close. You wanted them. You thought they would go with edge, but
Yeah.
I mean, they need help everywhere. Honestly, in Arizona. Is that their
Mhm.
name now? I don't know if they're
Yeah,
Phoenix or Arizona or whatever the hell they are,
yeah.
but they need help everywhere. But
Uh,
honestly,
uh,
I wouldn't have had Nolan that high either.
yeah, I'm going
Being
with
honest,
I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I'm gonna go with D Tapper from Oregon.
I would have said that, yeah, Derek Harmon. I would have said if I was going to pick for the Cardinals and I was going to take defensive lineman, that's who I would have taken. I would
Yeah,
have taken
because the
Harmon.
Bengals they're not gonna get an offensive player. They need help on defense.
They could really use a linebacker or a corner. I would say linebacker's probably what they need the worst. And if that's the case, I mean, maybe you go with a Jihad Campbell out of Alabama.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but I
Um,
think I think with the uncertainty of Henderson,
yeah.
like you don't know what I mean. I don't see how they can sign him to what he's asking for. I mean, you got the quarterback making max money. You got two wide receivers making max money, and now he wants max money. I, I can't see. That's almost impossible to have four guys making max money
No,
like that.
I think if you're them, if you're Cincinnati, you're looking at Joe Burrow and you're looking at Jamar Chase and everybody else is
But they gave T Higgins max money.
I understand that. I think they were wrong to do that.
Yeah.
Personally, I think they could have paid him, but I don't think he's worth max money at all.
So you would have given the max money to Henderson, the D tackle.
I probably would have. I probably would have because I mean he was an absolute monster disruptor last
But
season.
I think with Joe probably preferred to have T Higgins. He wanted more firepower on the offense instead of because
And right, and you know he has some influence over who's going to
oh,
be
for
part
sure,
of the team.
for sure.
But I'm just saying from an outsider standpoint. Again, I'm not a Cincinnati guy because I'm a Cleveland guy.
Yes.
But if it's me, I don't give him Miles Garrett money, but I give Henderson a nice payday because of how disruptive he was this past and for the last few years. On
Yes. I think he led the NFL in sacks this year.
Yeah, I mean he was a beast.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have I don't think they have the cap space or the money to give him what he's asking for. And I don't think he's going to budge on it either.
No, and I especially after what Miles got, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna budge. So I think he probably will sit it out and then don't come back until like week 8, week 10, something like that, when he has to come back just to get his year in and go that way, and then probably going to free agency or something like that. Who knows? But I don't think they don't have the money to pay him. I mean, that's you can't give four guys like that kind of max money. You like your offense is you're paying what 60, 40, 30. So you got right there, you got 130 million in three players.
Yeah, it's honestly salaries make me sick. I mean, I get it because it's a shorter career, so you're packing a lifetime of salary into, 3 to 8 years for most of these guys. I get that, but goddamn, 40 million a year.
But
Holy
they
shit.
but they screwed that up because Chase wanted the money last year, but they said no, come and prove it. So he went out and got the triple crown, and then he wasn't going to settle for anything less than 40.
Yeah. No, you want to know who screwed up fucking contracts?
Who was
These guys with
Oh yeah, when they gave Watson the
that
bag,
stupid Watson
the
deal.
230 guarantee, yeah,
Yeah.
that set the precedent.
And there is not another owner in football who isn't pissed off about what the Haslams did.
But at least he was man enough to say they wet the bed on that one.
Yeah. Well, most of us who live here were able to say that before they made the deal.
Yeah.
There's no way I wanted him here. I didn't want him. A, just because of the personal shit, the off the
Hmm.
field stuff.
Hmm.
The Browns have not always been a great team, but they have always had character on their
Hmm.
side. But also, he had a year off, man. You're gonna have rust at minimum.
Well, he was off more than that because he was off
Well,
for the
right.
suspension, and then he was off for injuries, and he was off for
Okay.
where the Houston said, "We'll pay you, but you're not going to play. So
Yeah.
you may as well just stay home."
Yeah. So he's
So
just he that was just such a horrible move, and almost everybody I know here thought so ahead of time. Jim Tomey, our Pro Hall of Fame baseball player,
yes.
bought season tickets for his wife. They signed Deshaun Watson. She got rid of her season tickets. Like, that's honestly how a lot of people here felt. Just, I cannot believe
Who is who they getting? Who
he's coming out and announcing it right now. And you were right, man. Shamar Stewart, edge out of Texas A&M. I
I
would,
mean,
you know,
I think right now they going it's going to be a run of defensive players,
I just,
right?
me personally, I would have Pierce higher than I would have Stewart, but that's just me, you know.
So now you got who you got? We got Seattle.
Now we've got Seattle's on the clock. Then we've got the Bucks.
So Seattle, I'm trying to think who is
Offensive
that
line, wide receiver, corner,
who
defensive
is that
lineman.
quarterback?
In Seattle, man, they got rid of what's his face. Um,
Gino.
hang
Yeah,
on.
they got rid of Gino. Is it the kid that came from Denver?
It's Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Okay, Sam Darnold.
So they've got
So
Sam Darnold, and then backing him up, they have
the kid that came.
Howell that came out of Washington,
Okay, so I'm
and then
going to
they've got Drew Lock. So he's the
yeah.
fourth stringer.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say they go with an offensive player, and they're gonna go with Tyler Booker
Okay.
because they need somebody. They're gonna need protection. I don't think that line is really good. Even though they need wide receiver too, because they lost both of their wide receivers.
So you think they need line help, but you don't think they're going to go with Simmons out of Ohio State?
Oh man, I think I'm trying to. I'm gonna. Man, they don't got no wide receivers. They've lost both of their key guys.
Yeah,
So they could use that. They could be a wide. This one,
this could be golden spot.
yeah. I would say the safe bet. I'm gonna go with Tyler Booker.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with him. But I wouldn't be surprised if they took a wide receiver. I mean, the only one available is
Matthew Golden
is
out of
gold
Clemson.
is golden. There's not, again that will be what is that? Well, that will be really only two wide receivers that went in the first round.
Right.
Yeah, which is
And even then, like Golden, as good as he is, right? He is only 5'11.
but I didn't even hear about him. I heard more about Isaiah Bond than him.
Yeah.
You heard more about, but Isaiah Bond with all that little stuff that he just got himself in. I think that pretty much knocked him out of the first round. Um, for that incident that just come up, and he's trying to figure that out. So I don't know how far that's going to knock him down in the draft because of he had to go turn himself in and
Yeah.
all this and that. So
All
I
right.
don't know. I don't know what that'll put him.
The pick is in.
All right, I'm going with Booker.
All right. They haven't announced it yet, but yeah, I mean, if it's, I still can't believe that Will Johnson's on the board. I don't think they take him here, but I can't believe that. Honestly, he's the top corner in the draft. If you're not talking about Travis Hunter, I can't
Yeah,
believe he's still on the board. Um, yeah.
that is rare. You would have never thought he would have failed like this. And I'm pretty sure everybody was telling him that too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would have called him top 10, but I would have called him top 15 without.
But most people, but a lot of people say he was better than Travis Hunter at corner.
Oh yeah, as just a straight corner, I would agree with that. But again, you're dealing with health. Can he stay healthy?
Yeah, and Travis Hunter. I mean, Travis Hunter has some health issues too, with being hit late and having the kidney laceration and stuff like that. But
But even he bounced right back from that stuff.
yeah,
He was there.
yeah, yeah. But that and this one was dealing with the hamstring, and
And it's a
being a
nagging.
corner or wide receiver, you need them hamstrings.
Yep. And it's a nagging hamstring. It's not here and gone. Uh,
Yes, I
they
don't.
went, the Seattle Seahawks went with Gray Zabel, offensive guard. So there's a fun one.
I got it. I got the position right, but I got the player wrong.
Yeah. He's from
I
North
said
Dakota
offensive
State.
guard Tyler Booker, but I got the position, I got the player wrong, but I got the position right. So the Saints, not the Saints, but now we got Tampa Bay. What does Tampa Bay need?
Tampa Bay is mostly defense that they're looking for. They need a linebacker. They need secondary help. Their
Well,
offensive line has a
well,
few
you can.
holes, but
I would say this should be the spot right here. If they're gonna take somebody, I think it's gonna be Will Johnson.
it would be the smart pick if you ask me. I agree with you. Um, but I would have thought that that would have been the smart pick about 8 picks ago.
Yeah,
So
but I just think he has to grade to come off the board because I don't think you got Denver, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers and Green Bay. He could go to Green Bay because Green Bay needs some secondary help. I don't think the Chargers need secondary help.
no, and
I
Denver
don't think
Denver
Pittsburgh
has to
would
be
take a
fully focused
Pitt,
on offense.
Pittsburgh is not going to take a corner, and I don't think Denver is going to take a corner.
No, Denver, in my mind, Denver has to be completely focused on offense.
Yes, I think I got them picking the running back out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I got them.
I
I
just
got
think
them going here. So I'm going to go. I'm going to either say, depending on what they need, mostly in the secondary, I would say either Will Johnson or Starks, safety from Georgia.
okay.
Either
I
one of
would
those.
I would I would I would agree with you on Will Johnson here. And then for Denver, I you actually might be right. If Denver does what I think they should do, then yes, and Omari and Hampton out of
Hampton,
Carolina
yeah,
makes sense.
because they just lost. I think they lost their running back in free agency.
Yeah. And then
Then it's either Shador or Dart.
if they do anything besides Shador or Dart, there's going to be a mutiny in Pittsburgh, man. They have to grab one of them. It just doesn't
Well, I
make any
mean,
sense in the other one.
you have heard what's his name? Tomlin said, "Oh, we're just fine." Started Mason.
Yeah, no, not true.
You know, you've heard him say it. So again, I don't know if Mason can play better than Dart or Shador. Who knows? He knows the system better.
Okay, but he's had his shot like 3 different times in the last 5 years and never did well enough to keep it.
Hey, Pittsburgh might go with Matthew Golden, get another receiver.
Put him opposite Pickens or
Pickens
Pickens.
and DK Metcalf. You got a three-headed monster.
Yeah.
You got somebody. You got somebody who could take the top off the field with because he runs 4-2.
Yeah, I just, it's, I hope they do that. I don't want them to have a good quarterback.
I just
But
don't think
you
it. I,
know,
I don't think if either one comes, they're not going to be asked to do a lot. I just don't think so. Not the first season.
no, but here's the thing. I don't believe that Mason Rudolph is better than, honestly, either Shador or Jackson Dart. I don't think he's better than either of them. I think he would also be asked to just manage the game. So if you're going to do that, bring in a rookie, let him manage the game and grow at the same time.
Also, this little caveat: we don't know where this Aaron Rodgers thing is really at. And they could still be talking, and Aaron Rodgers said, "Okay, I'll come and talk to you guys after the draft." And he end up going there, and they sit here and say, "Well, we're not going to pick one of these guys because we already know Aaron Rodgers might." It's so many things we really don't
Okay,
even know.
but Aaron Rodgers is old, all right,
Yes,
and he has I mean he played better quarterback than half the league last year, no questions asked. But if you do bring him in, wouldn't you want a Dart or a Sanders to learn from him?
but is he willing to teach? Because some quarterbacks like Brett Favre said, "My responsibility is not to teach." Is he one of those?
What I, from what I've heard from Jordan Love, no. From what I've heard from Jordan Love, he actually did help him out. Do I know that to be true? No, because I wasn't in the room, right?
Yeah,
But I don't know why he would lie about it, you know.
because some quarterbacks don't want to be helping rookies. Because Brett Ford told you right off the bat, "I'm not here to help Aaron Rodgers."
Mhm. And I think, here in Cleveland a couple of years ago when we had Joe Flacco come in and we had a broken Deshaun Watson, Watson was not a helper. He didn't want to teach from the moment Flacco came in. And he was in DTR's ear. I think he's already probably in Kenny Pickett's ear, and the season hadn't even started yet.
Yeah.
I mean, he showed up for workouts that just started at 40. He was in the room because he wants to help the next level in. Yes, he wants to play, but
What
he
pick?
knows the
Who
role
got
well
picked?
enough that he's gonna be the mentor.
Who just got picked?
We had Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Well, we knew. Well, well, we knew eventually another wide receiver. So I guess they had him ranked higher than
Golden, yeah.
yeah. I had a Mecca going down to Washington.
Well, that might end up being where Golden ends up.
Yeah.
We've had a
I
couple of flops, but honestly, if if
so Arizona, not Arizona, but Tampa went away from what they needed. I guess
yeah,
they probably assumed that Amuka probably was going to be gone by then.
yeah, but
So now we got. So
Denver
I
was
think
going
Denver's going to
now,
pick Hampton.
if
Oh,
if they don't take Hampton, they take Golden. That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, they need. Yeah, one of
They
them they're going to
need
need
help
one
on that side of the ball,
because I don't think they thought Golden would last this long.
right? But I think Hampton is also one of those guys that, I mean, you watched him play. He had some serious numbers, and he is considered the second best running back in the draft.
consensus running back. But they did say if you've been listening all week, they kept saying Henderson is going to sneak in that first round. Henderson is going to sneak in that first round.
Right. If it's me though, I agree with you that it should be Omarion Hampton here. If it's not, I think it's probably going to be Golden because I don't think you put Travion above Omarion. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe Travion still goes in the first round, but I don't think it's to Denver. If it's me, where would I put the next running back?
Man, this thing is about to get hairy with this next pick. It's this is it probably for the quarterback. This is do or I, I mean I just can't, man. I just can never fathom Shador not being in the top 15, top 20.
Yeah,
I would have never thought this when the season ended. It kept saying it's going to be Cleveland, it's going to be New York, it's going to be Tennessee. Everybody likes Shador because of this, and I wouldn't.
but like I said at the top of our thing here, we have a lot of general managers this season who are talking themselves out of maybe something they should actually be looking into. You know what I mean? But should Cleveland have taken Hunter at number two? Maybe, but I actually do like what they did and drop down,
Yes.
get that extra first rounder next year, and take Mason. I think that was a good move.
Mm-hmm.
But there are like, if it's me, I don't know why somebody like, let's see, like if I was the Raiders, I would have taken Tedero McMillan. Now, I'm not going to complain that they took Gente, but if it was me, I would have gone with the right wide receiver for that breakout ability that they did not have,
Mm-hmm.
which is me. But I think you got Pete Carroll in there now. I think maybe he turned that a little bit and said, let's go running back to take some of the because he knows Gino.
Yes, take some of the pressure off the
Take
quarterback.
some of the pressure off of Gino and bring in a
Play
run game.
play defense, run the football.
Right.
Play
So
defense,
that
run the
kind of a
football.
thing where there are GMs, coaches, owners talking themselves out of something that maybe they initially liked. I think a lot of that's going on, and unfortunately for Shador, a lot of it has not gone his way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the name helped him out in college a lot because of getting a lot of NIL deals, and your dad being basically the head of the whole college and the most popular and most known person around in Colorado besides Peyton Manning and Jokic. Um, so it helped out in college.
Yeah,
But now it seemed like being a Sanders is kind of going against him now, going into the NFL because of the nitpicking. They may think his dad may be too involved and he may not be able to play in something without the criticism. Then they have to deal with the dad. And I mean, it shouldn't be like that, and it should go off performance based, but that's
right.
just the world we live in. Because who goes out and talk about a young man that you did an interview, even if the interview was bad and he seemed entitled? There's really no need to bring that to light.
Yeah, well, yes and no. All right. So being in Cleveland, obviously I had to sit through Johnny Manziel, right?
Yes,
Who had stats, but also had an attitude.
yes,
And the attitude won.
but I would say push back on that. Now Johnny Manziel was an alcoholic, a drunk. said he played better when he was drunk. He partied all the time. Shadur don't seem like he, to our knowledge, does that.
Right.
Drink, get drunk, go to parties, all this and that. Don't seem like he does that. So I think he takes football seriously. I didn't think Johnny Manziel took football seriously.
Right.
He was just a great football player having fun in college. I think Shadur, even though he probably is entitled because of his father, but I think he still wants to be a great player as well. And that he takes the craft of playing quarterback serious. Maybe not serious enough for some GMs and some other NFL personnel, but from looking outside in, I think he don't show that he does all that stuff with drinking and partying. I haven't never seen that, and I will be sure if he was, it would have been some video or something
Well,
showing him
right.
at some
Right.
some party.
I don't think his dad would have let him go there. The pick is in, but we're hesitating for some introduction for some kid here. I think it's Make a Wish kid.
Yeah, I think so. I think he wants to be great,
Yeah.
but I think just a lot of the stuff he does rub people the wrong way with the watch and the Maybach and the
You know,
Rolls Royce.
if we're being honest, that kind of shit pisses me off no matter what sport. Oh wow. Wow.
What happened?
So the Denver Broncos made their selection, and it was Dave Brown, cornerback out of Texas. Barron, I'm sorry,
Well,
quarterback out of
but
Texas.
yeah, but we said it was going like defense in these corners going to start going. So now,
How is Janae Barron going ahead of Will Johnson?
well, he did win the Jim Thorpe Award, so
Mm.
hey, he did win it. So, but I would say that. Well, I mean,
And they really needed some help on their offensive side of the ball because all they have is Bo Nix.
so just think about the picks that are coming up. I think the Chargers can go wide receiver at they pick as well. I
So
mean,
you're thinking maybe Golden goes to
man, you got them. You got Will Johnson got to go in these next. I mean, you got you got Green Bay who needs defensive back work. I wouldn't be surprised if he went there as well. They'll probably go crazy in Green Bay if he goes there. And then
yeah.
you
I mean
got
the Chargers need pretty much everything but a quarterback on the
yeah.
offensive side of the ball.
So that's what I'm saying. Look, they could go with Hampton, they could go with Golden. I mean, who knows? I mean, they can go with Sharks at the safety position. I mean, they could go a number of ways. So you got them, you got Green Bay, you got Minnesota. They probably need secondary help. And then you got the Houston, and then you got the Ram. Like, I mean, it's getting down to here, like where man, Will got to get ready to come off the board. And I mean, he got to come off in these next picks because I mean, Will. I mean, I don't know if they would take him at if he fell all the way to Kansas City at 31.
Yeah. Yeah. Kansas City doesn't really need a secondary help. Buffalo does. Buffalo could use a good corner.
I had them taking the corner out of Ole Miss.
Green Bay could use a corner.
Yeah, I had them taking Barry, but now they might take Will Johnson.
Yeah.
But this is the pick that everybody's been waiting for. Because if this is not, it is like you said, it's either one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. We'll put it that way. Like you said, though, there's always that Aaron Rodgers factor that we're not privy to what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we have no knowledge behind the scenes. I don't know what Pittsburgh running back situation looks like. I know they got rid of uh, Harris, and I don't know what the other running backs look like.
Um,
Najee Harris, they got rid
Taylor
of him.
Warren actually did a pretty good job for him last year. Um, you know, in limited duty, of course. Like he only had 120 carries, but for 511 yards, so he was averaging 4.3 a carry.
I
So
think the pick is in.
yeah, and let's see what they say.
Oregon, they went D tackle.
Wow,
They went D tackle.
Carmen. Wow. So I don't think Shador's in the first round, dude. I think Shador
Man,
just fell out of the first round.
wow. So right now, who you think San Diego got enough? I mean, San Diego, they got a litter of picks that they could get. It's guys that know they didn't everything was gonna fall to them. They could go Golden, they could go Starks, they could go Will Johnson.
They could go Omarion.
Yeah, they could go to running back. They got 5 or 6 picks.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot that they need and that just fell into their lap. But yeah,
Man,
I mean, with the Steelers going that direction,
that
didn't see that
that
coming.
but that tell you that either Shadur or Dart, they don't believe is better than Mason.
Mason Rudolph, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. If Aaron Rodgers does not go there, they're basically saying that neither one of those guys are better than what they got.
Right. And they could also be saying, look, because there wasn't any kind of a run on quarterbacks in the first round, there's still only a couple of teams, Cleveland, uh, kind of New York. There's a few teams that need quarterback help in the second round, but you can still get a quarterback in the second round at this point. So why take one this early? Right? So they
Yeah,
be thinking, hey, we'll just take one in the second round. There's plenty of them that are still worthy of second round picks, and not every team needs one. So that could be on their mind. But holy smokes, man, I thought they would take a quarterback for sure.
well, so now, I mean, it's very difficult to who's the Chargers head coach.
Jim Harbaugh.
So he's an offensive. What was his? I'm trying to think. What did he? I mean, you think he could? You think he wants to get weapons for the quarterback, or you think he going to want to be a defensive guy? What do you think?
Um, the way that he coaches, he loves a running game and a quarterback that doesn't screw things up. Um, but he relies heavily on defense. I think he goes defense. Now, that's not to say that the Chargers don't need weapons on offense. They could use a tight end, they could use a wide receiver, they could use a running back. But at 22, with who's already off the board, I don't know that I would go here with any defensive lineman at the moment.
I mean, Will Johnson. It's got to be something on why teams are why he's not getting drafted. Somebody knows something we don't know.
It could simply be injuries,
He
and
may not be as healthy as we think he is.
Um, so I mean, does Omarion go to the
Now Quinn Ewers. Do you think Quinn Ewers should have stayed in college?
yeah, he's I think he's third rounder at best.
And just think about it. If he gets drafted in the third round, you had colleges that offered him $4 million to come back.
Yeah.
I would have taken that. Would you?
Yeah,
I mean, because I don't think staying at Texas was just feasible because it was they are itching for Arch.
yeah.
So that
I will be the first to say that I am on the minority of this, but I think if you're an amateur, you're an amateur, and stop trying to get paid as an amateur. If you're an amateur golfer and you win the Masters, you don't get any money for that.
mhm.
You know, I don't know that college players should be paid. You know what your payment is? A damn good education.
Yeah, but that's just not the landscape we're in now. So
I
there's
I
nothing.
I understand that, and I blame Gen Z for that.
Yeah,
I do. It's personal opinion. I think Gen Z has hurt sports overall, personally. Um, but that's just me. That's just me.
yeah. I just think, in my personal opinion, if he couldn't stay at Texas, and I'm pretty sure the writing was on the wall that it's Arch turn. He
Mhm.
waited 2 years.
Yeah.
I would have taken the deal from a another big time program that offered me $4 million because he knew there was no mock draft or anyone saying that he was going to be the top one, two, or three quarterbacks taken.
No, but here's the thing. You're also looking at a draft class next year that's already head and shoulders above this year's quarterback draft class.
I get that, but
And
think about where
he's
we
got
were
to
at.
perform.
Okay,
He's got to perform like he's never
I,
done
think
this
about
year.
it. The Michigan game,
Yeah.
when Texas beat Michigan, he was at the highest. He was at his highest apex. Number one overall pick, Heisman Trophy winner. The next week they played, he injured his ribs, and everything went downhill.
Yep.
That's my point right there. Like if he could have went through a season without getting injured and playing, he could have jumped up past some of those guys that are ahead of him right now. Because just think about it. A year ago, who the heck would have thought Cam Ward was going to be the first overall pick?
Nobody. Nobody.
That's my point. So it ain't like out of the realm of possibility that Quinn Ewers could have went to another SEC or big time school, got paid good money and performed and did get injured, been up for the Heisman and did what he did. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I just think he just, I just think it was just bad. He should have went back to school if he wanted to get drafted higher because I mean there was no mock draft or publication or anybody that said he was getting drafted in the top three quarterbacks. There was
They
nobody out
were in
there.
the beginning of the season,
But that's what I'm
but
saying.
then
Once he got hurt and Arch had to come in for like those 3 games when he was waiting for the I think the Oklahoma game.
mhm.
He was getting prepared for that and it was like 2 or 3 weeks and Arch came in and took over the team. He went downhill from that because he never was the same. He never recovered. And then when they played Georgia, he just looked god awful
Yeah.
against Georgia. And then he didn't look well against Arizona State. And he definitely didn't look good against Ohio State.
No.
So from all that, and he should have known his draft thing, no matter what he would have done in his workouts, it wasn't going to change his draft stock.
Right. Right.
So I would have taken whatever wherever he get drafts right now this year, he would have made more going back to college than he would have made in that first contract.
Absolutely agree with you. I'm just saying where his thought process might have been.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
just
looking at
because
everybody coming out next year. Maybe I got a better shot this year. I don't know.
yeah, because again, the only person that you really will have to be worried about is Arch. I mean, K Klubnik, the guy you at University of South Carolina, and a couple other guys, those are hit or miss. Again, you could just look at Cam Ward as an example. Cam Ward came from a school out of San Antonio, went somewhere, then went to Miami, and boom.
Yeah.
So who did the Chargers pick yet?
The pick is in but not announced.
That's what I'm saying.
The actual announcement.
Like last year, they like Shador thought it was best for him to come back and be the first overall pick and not come out last year. Remember, he did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who would have court. Where do you think he would have got drafted last year if he'd come out? You think he would have got drafted the first round?
If he and his father had handled things a little bit differently, yes. I think the moment that Dion said, I'm going to tell my kid some places that I won't allow him to play, I
Yeah.
think draft stock immediately started tanking. The moment Dion said those words, because nobody wants to deal with daddy. You know? And I
Running back
think that was a,
Henderson just got drafted.
yeah,
Henderson.
Omarion Hampton is now on the Chargers. I say which
Who got drafted? Was it Hampton?
Omarion Hampton, yeah. So
Yeah.
right about that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying now. So you got
So now you
I
got
I
Green Bay on the clock.
I think this is where Will Johnson goes. I
Yeah,
think this is where I think this is where Will Johnson goes. He will be the savior. He will be the crowd go crazy. I think this is where he goes.
they desperately need a corner in Green
Yeah,
Bay.
I think this is where he goes. This is probably where he did not want to go, but I think this is where he ended up going.
Well, the one thing about Green Bay is that they are a perennial contender for the playoffs at minimum.
Yes.
Every year they're in the mix. It's not like going to the Browns. You know, I love
I
my
think
team,
like you
but
said, I think like you said, when Dion tried to pull an Eli and say,
yeah,
because he specifically said we're going to do what Eli did,
yeah,
and I just didn't think people did look at him as having the talent that Eli has.
right. There's a whole different stock value there when you're
Yeah,
talking
so
about Eli Manning versus Shedeur Sanders.
I
Yeah,
think and they didn't want to have to deal with. I think probably if you go back and give people truth serum, they'll go back and say I probably shouldn't have said X Y Z.
yeah,
Because right now this will be everything will be blamed on Dion. They're going to say the reason why your son didn't get drafted in the first round is because your dad.
well, the reason that he was going to go to the first round is his dad. The reason he's not going in his first round
His
is his
dad.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
you know,
because as you see, they had said it all along. Dion and them was saying we're not going to the draft. We're going to do it at home. And Travis Hunter, I think he kind of moved away from them and said, I'm going to do my own thing now. And I'm going to bring my dad, get the course to say my dad could come. And, he thanks Dion for everything he's done to help him. But as you can see on some of the stuff, he probably doesn't agree with it. And he's trying to push away and trying to kind of,
yeah,
put
he's
himself,
distancing himself from that.
yeah.
Get out of the circus.
Yeah. Because you could see he went to the draft because it was pretty much at one point. I didn't think Travis was going to go to the draft either, and I thought they was going to have kind of like a co-ed little party
Yeah,
together because they was going to go like 2-3 or 1-2 or whatever it may be. Because you heard this whole football season, they were going to go 1-2 or 2-3 or 3-4. They was going to be the first two picks. That was the whole talk the whole season.
yeah.
And Travis Hunter lived up to the bill, and the other guy didn't in a lot of people's eyes. And, with this whole shenanigans with, I wouldn't say shenanigans, but this whole thing with the jersey. and having jerseys retired. I don't think most people had a problem that it was Travis Hunter that got his jersey retired because he won the Heisman. He was the best player in college football. They said, well, okay, I don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem with Shador, who wasn't the best quarterback in college football.
Right.
And you got all these other guys like Cordell Stewart and Michael Westbrook and Eric Bieniemy and all these guys who have played for not Oklahoma, but Colorado, who don't have their jersey retired.
Right. Yeah. Again, I'm not a fan of retiring it right after they're finished playing either. Like what was it? A year or two ago, you went back to your to the junior college, right?
Yes.
And got a Hall of Fame inductee there or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and that took almost
How
30
long
years.
how long after you played? It wasn't that season.
Yeah. Yes, it took a long. Well, that usually, because if that is the case, we should be saying right now that Ashante Genty should have his jersey retired at Boise.
Yeah.
But right now, how well he played.
Yeah.
I mean, but I guess Colorado, the way Dion put it, we want to give the guys their flowers while they're young and they can enjoy it instead of waiting the 20 to 15 and years like that.
Again, it's the Gen Z. I need my flowers now. I'm sorry. I have a problem with the younger generation
Yeah, I get
being a
that
little
right there.
soft.
I've never seen that a player get their jersey retired like within a couple months after the football season.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's never happened. I'm talking about even the all-time greats, the Barry Sanders, and
Yeah,
not that just have never happened.
yeah.
But I guess Colorado, maybe they may start a trend that people may get their jerseys retired really quickly now if
I
they,
hope not. I
you
hope
know,
not. I hope it goes back to how it was. So looking at next year's quarterbacks, you've got Arch Manning. You've
quarterback from Cade
uh,
Klubnik.
you've got I don't even know how to say his last name. Nico Jamaleva.
Yeah, from UCLA.
Yeah. And then you've got Drew Aller out of Penn State. Now,
And
Drew
you
Aller,
and a quarterback from USC, the University of South Carolina.
right?
And Cade Klubnik out of Clemson.
Lenora Sellers.
And you got Cade Klubnik out of Clemson.
And you've got Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU, I think gets
Yeah.
a look. Sam Levitt, maybe Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I wouldn't mind having Drew Aller here, but that's just because he was born and raised in Medina, where I was raised, 20 minutes down the road from me. He's a hometown kid. So I wouldn't
And
mind seeing him, and he's good.
now Arch doesn't need to do a lot to be the first pick. His name Manning alone is going to help him.
Oh no, he just needs to not fuck up.
Yes.
I mean, really, he just needs
Yes.
to have a good season.
Don't get injured and don't mess it up. He
Yeah,
will be the first quarterback take it. It's all there for him.
yeah.
It's all there for him for that. But again, now, because I don't think the Manning name will hurt him like the Sanders name has hurting Shadur.
Right.
Because Peyton and Eli and Archie, they're held to the highest standards.
Well, not only that, but they have been very vocal about not being involved.
Yes.
He's his own dude.
Because remember,
He's gonna do what he does. He's gonna go where he goes, and he's gonna play where he plays.
just think about it. He's the only five-star quarterback who's still with their remaining team when they came out of college.
Yeah.
Everybody else is transferred. He sat and waited his time.
Yeah. Pick is in for Green Bay.
I'm gonna go Will Johnson.
Let's see. They're coming forward with the announcement here. That's kind of cool. It's in Green Bay. Everybody just went crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on and pick the pick now. We don't need to do all that.
Well, I mean, it's his home crowd. He gets to be the legend. Everybody gets to say hello. Come on.
Yes, like you.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, I mean that's cool and everything. Nobody want to hear all that. We hosted our community. Da, 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 da. Come on, man. Make the pick. People want to see their name being called.
Yep. So, come
And
on, baby. It's our honor and privilege to host. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, come on.
went wide receiver. Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
There's got to be some bad news. This is. I don't think nobody saw Johnson falling like this.
No. I just
It's got to be something that we don't know something.
yeah, it's gotta be. And I mean, I'm like I said, I'm a Michigan fan, right? And
Yeah,
so I know how the kid can play when he's healthy. So
yeah.
it's
So
something.
something is wrong. Yeah, something is wrong. It's something we don't know. And right now, as this thing stand, I don't see nobody. I think Shadir gonna get picked tomorrow, and that the headlines are not going to be about what's going on and who got picked and where. It's going to be where's Shadir going to go.
Yeah, because if he does fall out of the first round, which it looks like he's going to, because there's nobody left who needs a quarterback.
And why trade up when you can get him tomorrow?
Right, right. Nobody else needs a quarterback. And tomorrow you got Cleveland picking first.
And
And
they
my
probably
guess
will,
is they
and
got
they probably will pick
Dart.
one of, and they should probably pick one of those guys.
I think they picked Jackson Dart. If it's me, that's the direction they go. Um, but behind them, like, I mean, the Steelers have to draft somebody tomorrow for a quarterback.
Yeah, but then you're talking about him going down to like pick number 40 something.
Right. It
I mean,
just
that's just
depends.
hard to believe.
Are people gonna put Tyler Shuck? Are they gonna put Jalen Milrow ahead of Dion or Dion's kid? Because look at that. The moment I think about him, I'm thinking about his damn dad.
Yeah.
you know, and I'm guessing a lot of these GMs out here are doing the same thing and not liking it.
And I think if Cleveland gets Dart, man, Cleveland would have had a nice little run with that first round draft pick coming up for next year. Um, I mean that's gonna be a pick. They may be able to trade that pick and get more picks because they're gonna have two first round draft picks. I mean, now they could. Um, I mean, because you can conceivably trade those two first round draft picks and go up and get a higher draft pick next year and have one if you
Yeah.
really wanted to.
And that's what I was saying earlier when we made the trade and we got that extra first round draft pick. If we wanted to throw it all in, we could move up to number one, say here's two first rounders for your number one pick. And if Cleveland felt that good about Arch, or if they felt that good about any of these guys, then they'd have the draft capital to do that. Plus, they also have next year's extra second rounder.
Yeah. So
So
they're gonna have
they're
some.
not screwing themselves by moving up.
So hopefully the guy who's running the draft, I think is the African American GM. Hopefully
Andrew Berry, yeah.
hopefully he's looking at all this capital that he got and that he doesn't squander it.
You mean like in a Deshaun Watson kind of way?
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the
y'all be able,
first round
yeah,
pick in
y'all
years.
y'all finally about to come from under all that.
No, we still got like 3 more years of payroll.
Yeah, I know that, but I think as far as the first round draft picks go,
Yeah,
like you've given up all that. Like now
we
you just got
finally are there. Yeah,
all now it's just money. It's just dead money
right
that
now,
is going to be because eventually they're going to get rid of him, but they still going to owe him his guaranteed money, but it's going to be dead money.
but they could get lucky if he can't play this season after re-injuring his Achilles. They do have insurance on this contract, so they'll get some of that money back, which will help. But they're still screwed.
Yeah, but he ain't.
They
I can't
handcuff
see him.
themselves
I, I
financially.
can't. I can't ever see him playing in a Cleveland Browns uniform ever again
No,
because I just don't think no one has the taste for it anymore. I think they've uh they've it's run its course, and they wish they could just sit here and say, "Deshaun, just go home and we'll pay for the rehab and pay for everything. You'll get everything you're supposed to get. You just don't need to be here at the facility."
yeah.
If they could do that, I bet you they would do that.
Do you think Minnesota could take Will Johnson?
I think so because I had them taking a corner. I had them taking a corner, and I guarantee you they did not. I had them taking a corner out of Kentucky.
Okay. But I don't think they saw Will Johnson stand. Oh my God, they picked a
That's my
guard.
point. So I think
They picked
Will
a guard.
Johnson will go.
Dude, they picked a guard. They
Was it
picked
Booker?
Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State.
Wow. I went again. Like I'm saying, this is it's
So yeah, there's got to be something we don't know because I mean, both the Packers and the Vikings needed a corner, and neither one of them jumped on Will Johnson. So something's got to be happening there that we're just not in the know of. Wow. Wow.
who is that? The Giants. Was it the Giants?
The Vikings.
What is the Vikings doing?
The Vikings just took Donovan Jackson, the guard from Ohio State, which I never would have imagined that would have
Well,
happened.
I think
Now,
I think I think I think a trade just came.
yeah, the Giants have moved up to
25.
25 where the Texans were.
I think they're gonna take a quarterback.
Do you
They're going to
think
get a quarterback.
do you think they're going in there to
It's
get
either
Jackson
Shadir,
Dart, or do you think they're going in there to get Shador?
it's either Shador or Dart.
I mean, you don't trade back into the first round if that's not what you're going for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's still, if you look at the undrafted talent that's out there right now,
I,
you still
yeah.
have a corner in Will Johnson. Still have James Pierce, edge guy. You still have Hairston out of Kentucky. You still have Jahad Campbell, the linebacker. I mean, there's so many other talented guys that are still there, but
Well, I mean,
I
but
don't
it's
think you
it's
trade back into
crazy
the
if the
first round for
Giants
going QB.
if the Giants take either Shador or Dart, they're gonna have him, Wilson, and Jameson.
Right. And they picked up Abdul Carter at number 3, so they've got that edge rusher that they needed also. Like it's
But I mean, why? If you pick, so if you pick Shador, you almost saying that one of these guys aren't playing this year.
Right. I mean, I didn't figure Jameis was going to be in the running for starting job there because I just watched him play. I love Jameis. All right. Great dude. I think he's got positive energy. I think he has some talent, but I think he makes some dumb decisions and throws the ball to the wrong team too much. All right. So I didn't think he was going to be starting. Russ, on the other hand, I think they did bring him in for a year to start. So maybe they trade up, get a Jackson Dart, have him sit the year behind a Russ Wilson, learn, and
But
start next year.
has anybody said that the Giants like Dart better than Shadur?
I haven't heard anything regarding who's going to come up. I mean, in
No,
specifics with the
I'm saying
Giants.
have you heard like before the draft that the Giants like one over the other?
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. Because honestly, nobody thought they were going to take a quarterback at 3, and nobody before the draft thought that nobody else would be picked all the way down at 25.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm wondering if you're
At
going
minimum,
for.
they thought the Steelers would grab a quarterback.
I'm wondering if you're going for a quarterback, why didn't you just give the pick to Cleveland and get him at the top of the first round? Why are you going all the way up? Are they feeling somebody else is trying to go up and get it? I mean, why would you go up all the, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 8 picks that you could have got him at the 30 at 33.
Yeah, and I don't see
Like
of any of the other teams that are on the board, for today, none of them need a quarterback.
but
You
but
know,
they but them moving all the way to 25, did they feel one of the guys?
you know what? It could be. It could be that somebody's looking at them and they're saying, okay, it could have been the Rams because the Rams have Stafford. Stafford is getting older. So maybe the Rams would have taken one of the quarterbacks that dropped that far because it wasn't as big of a leap. So
Yeah,
let's get in before the Rams and get the quarterback we want before the Rams have
because
fallen
the
apart.
rest of the picks 27, 28, 29, 30, 31.
None of
They
those
don't
are
need they
quarterbacks.
yeah, they don't need a quarterback, so it will only be Stafford if that is the case. But it's still, I mean, I still think you didn't have to jump this many spots, so you still could have got a quarterback tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. And it might not have been like if you were jumping here to get Shador specifically, or if you're jumping here to get Jackson Dart specifically. Honestly, those two, I think Shador fits better now, but I think Dart has a higher ceiling, right? Personally, but I think they're kind of even on the draft board to me. So if one of them goes early tomorrow, there's still the other one. You're still going to get a reasonably good quarterback.
Yeah.
So trading up to 25 here, and it looks like so the Texans got a second round pick this year, third round pick this year, and a third round pick next year for this pick. So they
So
got a little bit of draft capital.
that lets you tell you that the Texans don't see anybody of value in these next picks.
Right. Especially since it was just a second, third, and third to move up in the first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would have maybe thought second, third, but not second, third, third. You know what I'm talking
Wow, they took Jackson Dart.
They took Dart. Yep. So, like I said,
Well,
I
I
think
got to
Dart
give
has
you
the higher
credit.
ceiling.
I'm gonna give you credit. They what credit's due. You said that you would have taken him over Shador.
And And I also said, and thank you for the credit, but I also said that I would sit him for the first year behind Russ.
But that's probably what they're going to do because they don't need to rush him now because he can sit the whole year and use Jameson as the backup to Russell Wilson, and he can sit there and learn from two veterans.
Yep. And that's, so it makes sense in a way, but I don't know. Oh shit, Atlanta just jumped up to 26.
Yeah, but they're not taking Shador. You know that for sure.
No,
No.
they just jumped up and took so the Rams are not at 26 anymore. The Falcons are.
Yeah, but they're not taking Shador. They got their quarterback. I would
No,
say they
but
might be trying to. They probably trying to get Will Johnson.
okay, it could be Will Johnson. Could yeah. I mean,
I'm
who
just,
else? Who
I'm
else is
just talking. But
committed?
who else? Who else that's out there that they thought that wasn't going to be there? Because it has to be a player that they didn't think would be there, and the only player I see is Will Johnson.
It's Will Johnson. And I mean, I think to me, maybe James Pierce, because I do believe James Pierce is a good edge guy, and I think he's actually better than a couple of the other guys that have gone
Yeah,
before him.
I think because Johnson don't supposed to be here, and they definitely is not getting Shadur. They already got Michael, so that's not happening.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade unless they've got unless they have some sort of Kirk Cousins trade that
But you still,
says, "Hey,
but
we'll get you Kirk Cousins and this draft choice for XYZ."
man, they could be.
I don't know what they need. They need defense, obviously.
Well, I guess they didn't think Will Johnson was the player that they wanted.
Yeah, so we'll see if the Falcons take him. Like, that's the only thing that really makes sense to me to jump back into 26 is to
Yeah.
go and take Will Johnson.
Wow. I'm pretty sure Pat. I'm pretty sure Jack Dart is like, oh my, I'm in the Big Apple. He going from Mississippi to New York.
Yeah, yeah. But again, like I would have taken him ahead of Shador personally, just because I think he has a higher ceiling. But um, my concern now is Cleveland at 33.
Well, you think pretty much they're going to take him?
I'm afraid they might take Shador at 33 if he's still there, and I can't imagine anybody else trading into the first round to take him. But
Well, I mean,
I mean, I would rather them draft somebody good. And now they still have the two first rounders next year. So they could still draft a real quarterback next year, real quarterback, if Shador doesn't work out.
yeah, but you don't want to get him. Then you got to be on the hit for all the money you got to give him, even though it's not a lot.
It's not going to be the same because he's going to be a second rounder. So you
Yeah.
get first round money. You know what I mean? That's so the Falcons got the 26th and the third round pick.
All right, the pick is in.
And they took James Pierce, edge out of Tennessee.
Good job. Good job.
So,
Well, they tell you something with Will Johnson. Something must be up that we don't know about.
yeah, I mean, I can't see anything else that makes sense.
Because I'm pretty sure they're for certain that he wasn't supposed to drop out of the first round. Because it looked like him and Shadur are gonna be the two that drop out of the first round.
I mean,
Well, he has a better shot of going still in the first round than Shadur.
yeah, if it's me, I don't see Will Johnson dropping past Washington because they need a corner.
Yeah, they need because that corner that they got from the Saints, he didn't pan out too well.
So here's the trade. The Falcons got the 26th overall and a third round pick this year. the Rams dropped down and got second round pick this year, seventh round pick this year, and a first rounder next year.
First?
First rounder next year.
Wow. So that means that they thought enough of that Pierce guy to give up a first round pick for him for next year.
Correct.
That's big. That's big for him because they thought a lot to give up a first round for him. So they had him as a first round grade then.
Yep. A lot of people did. A lot of people like James Pierce. But here's the thing. That means that the Browns and the Rams both have two first rounders next season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
whichever team between Atlanta and who was it? Jacksonville we traded with
yeah.
does worse has the better first round pick
Yeah.
and a better shot at taking higher. I mean, it's just interesting. But yeah,
But I'm telling you, it's gonna be some good. It's gonna be some good talk show for the NFL in the morning if this thing keeps going the way it's going. Because people, I'm pretty sure Deion Sanders' phone and stuff is blowing up.
you know what? Maybe on the other hand, people who know him are probably shutting the hell up right now and just letting him
Oh
be.
yeah, ain't nobody gonna say. I mean, if he eventually he gonna address this,
Mhm.
and I think it's gonna get addressed probably as soon as he get drafted.
Now they're showing Shador right now on the TV, and he's smiling and laughing and stuff.
Oh, he got to do that. You got to
But
do that.
but I was going to say, but inside,
Oh, he heard.
oh my God,
He heard one. He's a competitor, like most of us who play sports. His teammate went second overall. The team traded up to get him and give up a first round draft pick to get your former teammate.
yeah,
That right there lets you know what they think of Travis Hunter.
mhm,
We in a top five, but we gonna trade up to number 2 to ensure that we get him.
right.
Like like that right there. Like I mean, that's like a ouch.
Oh no, that's absolute pain. But like I said at the beginning of all this, maybe the best thing that can happen to Shador is dropping into the second round.
Short term, long term, yes. Short term, no,
Short term,
because
no, but long term, yes. What
yes,
I'm talking about.
yes, because he's gonna be as soon as he get drafted, he gonna sit here and say all these teams that passed me up, I got you, I got the receipts, I got all this.
Yep.
Dion probably gonna be. I that's who I'm waiting to hear and see what Dion gonna say. Because there's no way he's going. You know who's happy about all this? You want me to tell you who's happy about that Shador?
Happy about this.
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, yeah,
Because that keeps what's going on with him kind of on a back burner.
yep.
That should
Although what's going on with him is kind of front burner shit.
Yeah, it's front burner stuff that we gonna get into on the next one.
Yeah,
It's front burner stuff, but because it's the NFL draft,
yeah,
people are gonna be talking about why did Shador get drafted? Now he's going down as the third because you can't now if you draft Jalen, the quarterback from Alabama, over him, then you really are putting salt in the wound.
yeah. No, I if Mill honestly, the only reason I could see Milrow going over Shador is Cleveland at 33, so that we have a similar type weapon to Lamar, who's also in our division.
Yes,
That's the only reason I could see that happening.
but if that happens, you're basically don't went from a guy who's supposed to have been the first pick, no later than the second quarterback. Now he is the fourth quarterback.
Right. But
Like
again, long term, that can help him.
yes, long now. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully they give us some. humility and a drive to want to show everybody that teams messed up on him and all that. Hopefully that's what that do. But sometimes it could go the other way too, because he could be so angry about it that he says stuff that he probably would never say, but because he's so angry, or he may tweet something or get caught on a hot mic or so. I mean, he cannot be happy. You know how much money he has lost?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna make less money now than he did with his NIL. You know,
Well, but he's making a fair bit of money at the moment.
that's my point. So, but his NFL contract is gonna be less than what his NIL money he was making.
Yeah. But
Because
that won't
Travis Hunter and them are going to be making $30+ million guaranteed.
right.
Like
But
like
I
he
don't
like he's
think
not
the
gonna get
tour
that kind of
loses
money.
any endorsements
No, I mean
because
he probably ain't gonna lose no endorsements, but again, he still. I mean, he has lost a lot of money,
oh yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Because nobody would have thought he would have been this, that he wasn't gonna get drafted in the first round. People was for certain that he would at least get drafted in the first round. Maybe not the number one, but they was for
There he
sure he was
goes.
gonna.
Starks just went. Malachi Starks
Yep, the safety.
out of Georgia just got
Yep,
picked for the Ravens.
yep, that's a good pick for them.
Yep.
That's a good pick. Now they got
Which
they got two great safeties now because they got the big guy from from Notre Dame. They gonna have that's a pretty good. They might move him to corner because they got an all pro safety there already. I mean now could I mean who's the next pick?
next up we have the Lions.
I mean do the Lions? What do you think the Lions need?
So mm, if it's me, I would say protection on the offensive line and wide receiver. Give Jared Goff somebody else to throw the ball to. I
Man, who?
think you're okay on defensive line if my boy, my Michigan man, Hutch comes back healthy.
Well, I think if they're going to go offense, I mean, well, that kid from Missouri was supposed to be a top receiver that had like 60, 70, 100 yards receiving.
Oh, see, you're saying that, and I'm forgetting his name.
I mean, you
Uh,
could you don't they don't need a running back because they got a two-headed monster at running back. I mean,
so Luther Burden, I think, is who you're talking about out of Missouri.
yeah, they
There's
or they. I mean, could they use it?
Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State,
Could they use a
Freddie
corner?
Harris out of Ole Miss,
I
Luther
mean,
Burden out of Missouri, and Jalen Knoll are really the only four wide receivers. And honestly, I would say Burden and Higgins are probably the two to look at here if they go wide receiver.
could they get Johnson? Because they would have never thought Johnson was going to fall this low. Because remember, their defense was hemorrhaging last year.
It was,
But they had a lot of guys on IR.
yeah, and that's part of it. Like, um, I don't think Washington torches them as much as they did if Aiden Hutchinson is still on that D line. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think the secondary got screwed by Hutch getting hurt.
Well, Hutch I think he was on his way to becoming a double-digit sack guy because he had like 7 in the first
Yeah,
early part of the season. I think he probably would have been up there with Henderson and leading the NFL in sacks because he was on his way.
yeah,
But that's a horrific injury to come back from.
yeah. I've been watching. He seems like he's progressing pretty well. But yeah, when you snap bones.
Yeah, that's
Were
hard
you
to come.
watching baseball, Moises Alou, when they were playing up in Expos when the
Yeah,
ball
it's
was
Toronto
planted?
Expos.
Do you remember when he was running to
Yes.
second and he stopped and his leg went? Oh
Ugh.
my
I don't.
God!
The pain has to be unbearable.
Oh my God! But like everybody turned away except his dad got out of the dugout and went out to help him, but everybody else couldn't even look at it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure people would have started throwing up or vomiting if they would have saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it, and his leg halfway through his shin was doing this.
And I think they said you could hear when Hutch did his that you heard the snap of the bone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and I mean, I've watched some pretty gnarly injuries. You remember what was it? No, not Napoleon Kaufman.
No, Garrison Hurst.
Well, Garrison Hurst was in college. Yeah.
No, Garrison Hurst at San Francisco when his whole leg turned. When it was in the thing, remember his whole ankle
Yep,
turned
that's
and
it.
it,
Yep.
yes, it was at
But
San
I'm actually
Francisco.
thinking before that, Napoleon with the Raiders. So there was Napoleon Kaufman, but before Napoleon Kaufman was another Napoleon. And they were,
Yeah, I don't remember his last name.
I think they were playing against the Cowgirls, and he got tackled and he was leaning forward and the dude was underneath him, but his foot was still planted in the ground and his 90-degree backwards knee. And,
Mhm.
oh my God. Um, yeah, it just
Yeah, if you're planted wrong, you're offensive player, that can easily happen. That could easily happen. Who's up with the
Napoleon
pick?
McCollum.
Yeah. Who's up? Who's next with is it
Uh,
I wonder
we've
they
got the
gonna take
Lions
look.
still, the pick is in, and then we've got the Washington Commanders where Will Johnson could go. Because the Lions just picked Kylelk Williams, DT out of Ohio State.
Um well, you think this is gonna be the pick right here at Washington?
If Will Johnson's going in the first round, this is where he's going. Um, on the other hand, Washington could also bring in another wide receiver uh, to help out Jaden Daniels, you know, and somebody like Jaden Higgins, who's 6'4", 214 out of Iowa State, might not be a horrible thought.
Well, I'm almost positive that Buffalo, if he don't go, Buffalo is gonna pick. I think, but I had Buffalo picking a corner,
Okay.
and I had the guy from Ole Miss, but if the guy from Ole Miss, Trey Amos, goes, then that means Will Johnson got something wrong with injuries that we don't know about.
Yeah. I
It,
think that's probably already the case since we're at pick number 29 and he's still on the board.
yeah, I think he may not be as healthy as people think he is, and that injury may be worse than what they may be leading on,
Yeah.
and that's sad for a guy to be that young and you already saying he having problems with running. I mean, unless it's something off the field that we don't know about.
Everything I've seen and heard about him, he's a Michigan kid. So everything I've seen and heard about him off the field has been good. But of course, you're not going to get a whole lot of the bad stuff. They kind of control your press for you a little bit.
Yeah, but that's just odd. That's just odd. A guy of his caliber, like no one is taking a run on him.
Yeah, I mean, you would at minimum somebody would have taken a flyer on the guy.
Yeah,
You know.
because I mean, he did work out toward the end of the end. So I mean, I think people may be skeptical because he didn't run the 40,
Yeah.
and that may be people like, what's his real top end speed? Can he cover in the NFL against faster guys? Like you just little stuff like that can set you back. Not
Yeah.
running the 40 unless you was already a Travis Hunter, where you don't have to run the 40.
Right. Let's see what we got here.
because we only got the champs left, the two Super Bowl guys, and Buffalo.
Yeah, so I think you're right. We're probably having some issues with concern about his 40 time. You know,
Yeah, because I
he can
mean,
jump. He's got a 37-inch vertical. He did the short shuttle in 4:33, but he didn't run the 40. And so
yeah.
people are worried.
So if he did a short shuttle at 4:33, that means he probably would have ran maybe a 4.5.
Yeah,
Because usually,
which means you can cover a running back, but not a wide receiver top end.
yeah, and it's not necessarily meaning he can't cover a wide receiver. It just means that he just don't have the flat out foot speed, because you can still cover a wide receiver being knowledgeable on studying what the guy runs and know the route combinations and study
Right,
enough
but
film that you
I
have
think a team
enough.
would be a lot more comfortable
Yeah,
throwing him in to cover the slot than they would the wide. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. So I just think the hamstring injury probably it did a number on his draft stock. It came at the wrong time. It came at the wrong
So
time because I mean he shouldn't have never failed this, because he was a perennial top 10 pick the whole season.
yeah,
The whole
and
season.
so the question then becomes, oh, we lost him. We lost George. Hopefully he'll come back here in a minute. Oh man. But we'll see what they do here, and we'll see if George can get back to us. Uh, but they have needs in Washington, you know, corner, wide receiver, offensive line, maybe an edge guy. And they took offensive tackle, Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle from Oregon. So again, somebody covering their young quarterback and trying to keep him on his feet. Got my phone, seeing if I can find George. Protect your young guy. Jaden Daniels showed last season that he's going to be a good QB, solid guy, but you want to protect him in every way possible. So you bring in Josh Connerly Jr. and shore up your offensive line a little bit. So now we got the Bills. Bills, to me, I think you're looking corner, defensive line, and maybe another wide receiver. Um, Again, if Will Johnson is going to go, this is, I think, where it's going to be. Otherwise, he's probably not a first rounder, which kind of surprises me. But like George and I have been saying, that simply means that there's something going on, not only with his speed not running the 40 and not knowing whether he's a 4.3 or a 4.5 guy, but also is that injury worse than everybody's being led to believe that it is? So that's a question. Get some more whiskey. Hmm. Ah, I don't know what happened to George. Maybe his phone died because we were on for a few hours. Maybe his phone's dead. Maybe his son needed something. I don't know. Because one thing you know about George is it's family first, right? His boys are number one in his life. Got three great kids. So, and here comes Tommy to make the announcement. I apologize for, and it is Maxwell Hairston, the corner out of Kentucky. So, obviously, Will Johnson, I expected him to go higher, but obviously, the 40 time is a concern. The injury is concerned. So, you know, so Maxwell Hairston, corner out of Kentucky. George had him picked up higher in the draft, but he did make it into the first round, snuck in there. Now we're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe I look at Jahad Campbell out of Alabama for a linebacker. He's probably the best linebacker in the draft overall to a lot of people. And I'm actually somewhat surprised he's still here. Uh, and if you want somebody in the interior, maybe you go with a Darius Alexander or a Shamar Turner out of A&M. Did take Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. So, I said if I was going to take a linebacker, it would probably have been Campbell. So, Kansas City Chiefs pick is in, just waiting to see who they take. And that will wrap up our show. I want to once again, let's one more time thank our sponsor of the evening. We'll bring them back up here, and that is Medina Roofing. All right. You want roofing done, you want it done by a local company, you want it done right. These are the guys to call whenever you need, whether it's a roof, whether it's siding, whether it's windows, no matter what it is on the outside of your, and it doesn't matter if it's residential, and it doesn't matter if it's commercial. If you need something done, you call these guys 330-722-4264, 330-722-4264. That's Medina Roofing. You call them, you'll get a job done and done right. Appreciate it. So the pick is in. We're just waiting on who it is, and then I'll sign off. Um, and I'll sign off for George since he's already gone. Mike Green's still out there for Marshall, so that's a possibility. Nope, they went again. Wow, Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Not wow him, just wow at how many offensive tackles got drafted in the first round this year. That's pretty impressive. Everybody wants to protect what they've got, and it shows you how big of a lack there was in the NFL league wide at finding a good tackle, man, a good dude to protect. Anyways, that's it for tonight. I appreciate you being here. For myself, for George, we thank you for watching the Davy Jones Locker Room podcast. We will be back. Thanks again. Have a good night. Enjoy the season.